All right, welcome to the gameplay from the draft we saw yesterday. They've started to go through the decks. We're not going to go through all of them because that was like a bit too much of a preamble. But this is the blue-green deck with Birds, Hex Drinker, Lotus Cobra, Channel, Eureka, Show and Tell, Emrakul, Ulamog, Kozilek. I didn't even notice the Kozilek. Nice. Ura, Oracle. This is where the Titania ended up, though. Doesn't look like the best Titania deck. Oh, and Portal to Phyrexia with Channel, Show and Tell, Eureka. That's sick.
Love all of that.
This deck, for having no power in a field where some people have a lot of it, this deck actually looks quite good. This is just a very cohesive deck.
Yeah, it's...
And good mana. Like
yes,
most of the decks have pretty bad mana.
As far as interaction for a blue-green deck in the format, it doesn't have the most. It has like
Oh, look, they
Endurance.
dressed to match their deck box.
I guess, yeah.
And so to kind of bring it, bring a rundown real quick for those who are just tuning in. You could watch the Rochester draft in the video that went up yesterday, and very fun watch. Definitely highly recommend it. Now, so the way the cube works is players kept what they draft, which for some players was quite a lot. We had one person open a Lotus, of course. That's a great one. Also, his son to his left opened Time Walk Ancestral Moxjet. There's other pieces of power opened as well, but not all of it was opened. I think it was like Sapphire, Pearl, Ruby were not opened, I believe. And there's also Michel's Workshop, Bazaar, Baghdad, some heavy hitters. The way it's going to work is the winner of this draft will first pick one of the cards remaining, one of the undrafted cards. And then second place takes one, and all the way to eighth. And at that point, the winner keeps everything else. So basically, you end up in a spot where the winner gets to scoop up a ton of value. Second, third, fourth, and fifth, I think, are all getting at least about 1,000 plus. I mean, the Moxes are more in terms of value. I don't exactly know what 6th, 7th, 8th get because I haven't drilled super deep. Probably like Underground Sea, I think Volcanic got opened, but something along those lines. Revised dual level. There's a Beta Soul Ring. Yeah, that's another pretty nice one. And then the winner gets to, again, scoop all the rest. So I think it's going to be tough for anyone to get too much more. Like, anyone except the winner probably can't get more than Luca, who opened 3 pieces of power, or his dad opened the Lotus, which is worth about 3 pieces of power, something like that, depending on the condition of all of them. But they're still playing for a lot, and it's just, you want to be the winner. You want to get that trophy, Like, that's a big driver of anyone who plays at this level, who's gone through the work to win a feeder league, and then win a 64, and then win the Sunday draft, and fly out to Vegas. So I'm really excited for this. I can't wait to see the matches, and it's going to be cool to see how the decks turn out. I did want to mention something about the draft yesterday because, we were surprised by some of the picks. A lot of the people in the comments of the video yesterday on the stream were surprised by some of the picks. I got to tell you, unless you've done a Rochester draft, especially a pretty fast timed one, it's really difficult. Way harder than it looks, and it probably looked pretty hard. So just keep in mind, even if some of the picks were surprising, If you haven't sat in that seat, it's really hard to know what you'd want to do at that point because they open the pack, you get like a minute to look at the whole pack, then it's 5 seconds per pick. If you're at a 5th pick and someone ahead of you takes a card you thought you were going to get to take, you just have to scramble to find your second best card. It can be tough.
Yeah, I also think the reason that these people are here is because they're smart and they have an opinion on Cube. And when you actually apply yourself that way, there's going to be some things that you take much differently than other people. And it works out for you, right? Because you know how to use that card.
Yeah. So here we're going to get to watch Luca against Daniel here. I really like it. Luca's got the very powerful deck. Oh, Spell Pierce on a Mana Vault. That's generally a pretty good play. This is going to be an Ancestral. Well, you weren't getting away from that. Because if you didn't Spell Pierce the Mana Vault, which first of all is a crazy play. There's no way Daniel should have made that play. The Ancestral would have also not gotten Spell Pierced because of the Mana Vault.
If you knew the pools, the only way you could do the Spell Pierce play is if you know the pools and know all the cards that are going to get played off Mana Vault are expensive non-creature spells.
Yeah.
That you think you can Spell Pierce. And then you're getting a nice 2-for-1.
That's pretty gutsy, though, because what if Luca just untaps and casts a 5-drop with 2 lands up or something like that?
Yeah, it's definitely...
Yeah, like
it's almost certainly...
deranged play.
Yeah.
I see a Time Walk in Luca's hand. You can see the sliver. There's not that many white border cards in the cube. So V-Click's on the stack here. Luca presumably doesn't have a counter because it looked like he was about to lay out his
if
hand.
Luca might have removal for the V-click and is worried that could get taken, but
yeah, you don't need to do that.
You don't need to do that.
Indeed, he had Vendetta. Oh, he's got the Spellseeker. You click the time lock to the bottom. Oh, it's coming back.
That's really
and
funny.
A Hostage Taker. He's going to get to go land Hostage Taker.
In fact, that is a risky one to take.
Yeah.
You get V-click the second time.
True.
If the Hostage Taker gets killed.
I think if Daniel has no removal for Hostage Taker, he probably should just take it. Because it's going to be pretty ugly if he doesn't. But if he has removal for it...
Yeah, that's fair.
Though, you can play a mind game. If you don't take Hostage Taker...
It's not going to look good to do that.
Like, Luca's not necessarily even going to play it.
So Daniel has Otawara in hand. I don't know if he has a fourth land.
Okay, he took the Hostage Taker.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Wow. Wow. Daniel has a Metamorph in hand.
Oh man, that
hitting a Hostage Taker with a Hostage Taker is actually a pretty sick play.
And Vendetta kills a non-black creature because this is back when that's what they did.
Right.
So yeah, that though Luca has Swords to Plowshares. His deck is 6. Spellseeker just goes.
You're right. It would immediately because if you could Hostage Takering the Mox Jet is a sick thing to do.
Oh yeah. Hostage Taker.
Actually, maybe what you should do if you're Daniel is just let the Hostage Taker happen and just copy Hostage Taker and just take Mox Jet. Don't even take the Hostage Taker.
Yeah.
Because then you get the Mox Jet forever.
Yeah, that's definitely a play. All right, here goes Time Walk. So not getting massive value out of this Time Walk, but maybe feeling a little pressure to play it before it gets countered or discarded. Because, and then Vendetta. Yeah, I mean, it's got to cast one other card. So Vendetta kills a non-black creature. You lose life equal to its toughness. It's honestly not like crazy to include even in Cube now, though I guess removal's just gotten a little too good.
It kind of depends on your deck if you're Luca and the likelihood that Time Walk's going to get hit if you don't use it. Because there's some cards, like some certain Planeswalkers, getting to use them twice is so insane it's worth waiting. But if you don't have those cards, you should just dig for those cards by cycling your Time Walk.
The other thing is he didn't have another blue in hand when we saw it, so that the natural play of Spellseeker plus Time Walk in the same turn is a little harder.
Oh, that looks phenomenal on this board with a Vendilion Click against a blue-black deck.
Though Daniel does have Metamorph and Otawara, so he's playing the Otawara. He also has Treachery.
Yeah, you just
in
have
hand.
to take this. Use this Scarab, get your own Scarab God for sure.
Yeah. If you can land Treachery, so here's a play you can do. You Treachery their Scarab God. You choose to keep theirs, yours dies, and then comes back to your hand because it's a Scarab God.
That is pretty sick.
Yeah. But Luca has Snapcaster in hand. I mean, what he's just going to do here is he's going to Spellseeker for Swords to Plowshares. He's going to Swords the opposing Scarab God. And then, he drew an island, though. That actually changes things because he could snap Time Walk here. Is attacking good? What happens? You attack, block, they both go back to hand?
Back to hand and end a turn. It's not that good.
That's not that good. So Luca has a couple plays. What are you into? You can go...
I'm just into two...
Spellseeker Swords that thing?
Spellseeker Swords attack for 5.
Yeah, and setting up a Time Walk next turn. If Daniel draws a land, he's got a Treachery in hand. I don't think he has another land because he wouldn't have played Otawara over basically any untapped land at this point in time.
Oh, if you know that's in the range, then you might want to just bring back Vendilion Click. If your opponent has Treachery in their deck, you should definitely just V-click away the Treachery.
And then there's nothing else in the graveyard currently to...
Yeah, that's not
to bring back. Yeah, you could just bring it back right now before he has a chance.
It's easier for me to make this play because I'm literally looking at the Treachery. It's on the top of my mind. But if Luca's seen the deck list and has been studying them for the deck pool for the last day.
Oh yeah, good point. Here, I can minimize this. BK has been working out. He's got to show it off, but we can make the camera a little smaller. You can see the life totals and the graveyard a little better now.
I appreciate the compliments.
Yeah.
Every day you gotta wake up with a grind set,
I still can't get over one of the first videos you appeared in here, and one of the comments was like, "Who's the twink?"
That really shows what the...
I can tell you it wasn't me. That's all I'm saying.
That shows you what the average body type is in the Magic community. Because I'm doing good, but I'm not that skinny.
All right, here comes a Baleful Strix. Such a disappointment for Daniel. I feel for the man. You got Treachery in hand against a tap down opponent with a Scarab God. Yeah. And you would get to Treachery it and Vendilion Click immediately.
Yeah.
Oof. All right. Well, I assume Luca's not.
I mean, what we said before this started. Why are we picking Luca to win? Because clearly luck is on its side tonight, and dodging that fifth land drop there was an insanely good thing for him.
Yeah. I mean, now I assume he's got all the pieces he needs to win. Like, he can Snapcaster Time Walk, and
he can't Vendilion Click too.
No, he's got Elspeth in hand now. That's the other thing. He could also just play it a little slow and like bring back the Vendilion Click. He could snap Swords the Baleful Strix. The thing is, it's not even that bad.
I think I would bring back Vendilion Click and see what Daniel was working with, and then decide if I wanted to trade with Scarab God or not.
I mean, I honestly don't mind attacking Scarab God into Baleful Strix and getting.
You kind of got to do it someday.
Yeah. He's just gonna wait.
Are we doing this draw step?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean that's a decent time. Daniel's on such tea because he drew the land this turn.
Pack Rat is not a card I would want to be playing this weekend.
No. I had that card in Cube, or it was in a old Cube, and I remember it just being really bad. So
it was really bad when it left the Cube, and it left the Cube like 5 years ago, and that was before they printed a crazy amount of really good cards.
Whose signature is on the Strix? I don't know. If Chris Wolf is in the chat, he could certainly tell us. All right, well, I believe Treachery is going to be selected here, and I believe the game is very close to over.
Not 5 years? Okay. Mm-hmm. When did Pack Rat get cut?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Treachery is gone.
Pack Rat was in it till a year ago? Oh, wow. I didn't remember that.
And now he's got a Damnation, which, I mean, is probably the play, though it just does fuel the Scarab God.
That is funny.
Yeah, that is tough.
I guess maybe 5 years ago was when I stopped thinking about ever taking a Pack Rat in a draft. Does that sound about right for you?
I mean, 5 years I think sounds like more even than that, but I don't think Pack Rat has been good for many years, yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, here comes Damnation. I believe, as well, these beta lands are Marshall's, because I believe Ryan Spain asked Marshall to bring his beta lands to Vegas for this express purpose.
That's classy. Marshall has made many amazing contributions to the Magic community, and this is just the latest.
You know, when I did the beta draft in Vegas, I actually borrowed beta lands from an LR listener, because I would have gone to the dealer and bought lands before I played current set lands in a beta draft. It's just unacceptable behavior, you know?
I do remember this.
Yes. You might not know this if you don't know me well, or if you ever watched me play, you probably do. I'm pretty obsessive about which lands I use and what versions of cards I use, just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, well, Scarab God's back down. Daniel is really going to need something pretty strong. A Massacre Worm isn't going to do it. He's passing the turn. No, that doesn't sound like a victory
it's
to
a
me.
Tough one. Massacre Worm is a card that when it does show up in Cube still has its moments. Could you imagine if you ever got to play that against an Ocelot Pride deck?
Yeah, sounds pretty good. So, I do think that overall, Luca just having 3 pieces of power and a Mana Vault too. Not that it's like the best Mana Vault deck. It's pretty good with Scarab God. Pretty good at powering out Spellseeker. The Plow worked out really nicely for him, I think. He took Plow over Mana Drain, and I think that is absolutely correct for his deck, as it turns out. So Luca is pondering how to close out this game, but really...
I mean, because you look at the graveyards. It's like he gets to do it twice, and right now in the yard is Spellseeker, Baleful Strix.
He's also got Snapcaster Time Walk in hand if he really wants.
I think I would probably pass with Snapcaster up so I had interaction, and I would spend this next turn cycle reanimating like Baleful Strix.
Yeah,
I mean, you're probably going to lose to this if you're Daniel, right? Like, it's probably a winning thing. Like, Luca also had a Celestial Colonnade in play, so that's a way to push damage.
Hold on, if they're showing those two guys, at the very least we can compete.
What's up, everybody? Everybody's chilling out tonight. Their stream looks like it's promoting the NRG series, and we're out here. We're repping Ultimate
Guard, TCG Player, Channel Fireball. Or I guess I posted in the wrong order, but you know the drill.
It's been a minute for me since I put on a Channel Fireball jersey.
Yeah, it has. Got a lot of Channel Fireball jerseys out there, you know.
Yeah, I came into the end of like when that was like a big thing. But if you were playing Magic
I would
in
say
the
that
2010s, like seeing people in a Channel Fireball jersey at like Pro Tours and Grand Prix was like, whoa, look at that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that when you joined, it was the beginning of the end for Channel Fireball.
Yeah, it's all right.
I would really hope that the trophy that they have in front of them reflects Marshall looking at something inappropriate on his computer.
I think the first time I ever wore a Team Channel Fireball jersey was because Cheon had just started working for Wizards and needed to leave the Team Series Channel Fireball.
Right, and you got subbed in.
And I got subbed in at the end.
All right, so here, this is Daniel's deck. He does have Wise Drafter's Will, Counterspell, Spell Pierce, Duress. Oh, Duress, yes. That is part of why Luca probably fired off that Time Walk. I think that's very reasonable.
That's very reasonable.
Mesmeric Fiend, Vendilion Click.
Oh.
Grief. Thoughtseize.
Look,
Collective Brutality. He's got like a million hit disruption spells.
This matchup could get flipped on its head. This is a bad weekend to be facing somebody with Wish Drafter's Will in their deck. As we've seen, Kai's powers have been activated this weekend.
That's true.
And this is his invitation.
So for those who don't know what Wise Drafter's Will is, it's one of the worst designs they could ever make, which is why they never made it. It's an enchantment for a blue mana. Your opponent plays with their hand face up. That at the beginning is extremely unpleasant. You would basically never make a card, irrespective of what the rest of the text is. And it says, blue, sacrifice it, counter target spell, or blue, sacrifice, draw a card. Because, of course, you got to have a buyout, because otherwise, why would you make this card?
So, who knows if they'll ever counter a spell during the game?
Yeah, right. One of the more unpleasant cards to play against, for sure. But honestly, though, if there was a deck that could beat Luca, this actually looks like a deck that has some strong outs to do so, with a lot of good discard, treachery against the Scarab God. Though I guess Luca does have a bunch of Planeswalkers. That Spellseeker is just incredible here. It gets Time Walk and Ancestral and Swords to Plowshares. Like, come on.
It's literally the
and
3 of the 4 or 5 best they can get. The ones that are like maybe in contention for as good are Channel.
And you don't mean of his deck. You mean of the cube.
Of like when you could Spellseeker for anything. Like those are the 3 of the best. And then it's like Channel and Flash or whatever, like the other 2.
Something like that. Daniel's on the play here. One thing that could hurt Daniel, we'll see if it does or not in these games, is he doesn't really have any duels, and he's got Cryptic Command Masquerorm in his deck, like that that's quite the spread. Looks like
it's tough. Yeah.
They both mulliganed here, which I believe hurts Daniel a bit more. For multiple reasons. The first is that Luca has 2 copies of Ancestral Recall in his deck, and that's the best mulligan. Ooh.
Oh, can it carry? This is amazing.
Patrick Raddington?
This is unbelievable. The excitement in 2024 of seeing a high-stakes game of Magic being determined by whether somebody could pay 2 and a black every turn to make a copy of Pack Rat.
Well, I actually feel like I'm kind of jealous of Luca. He had to read Pack Rat, which means he never suffered at its hands. Though, honestly, I can't really claim that either. I did open Pack Rat in back-to-back Grand Prix. And,
no, that's not... You're leaving it out.
I opened Pack Rat and Mizium Mortars in back-to-back Grand Prix, but as I told my good friend Pat Cox, someone had to do it.
Now that's a card you could have considered putting in this cube, Mizium Mortars, card which is like, it still does something, but it's definitely its time has passed.
Yeah. Also, by the way, when I said someone had to open it back-to-back, Pat was like, "That's not how probability works. It's like 1 in 10,000 that would happen." All right, well, Luca, we're gonna find out if he has swords very quickly here. Oh yeah, he does.
Wow,
that was a bit of a slow roll there.
Well, in this spot, it is potentially correct for
to let them
go it.
Yeah, I agree.
If you slow somebody down with a swords and you have a Wrath in your deck, for instance, or a Wrath in your hand, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, it is. I also that was a joke. I also really don't fault anyone from making sure they're making the right play. This is a very high stakes draft.
Oh no, yeah.
All right, Narset, Parter of Veils, and likely, well...
This is probably just going to be a draw too.
Yeah.
Double impulse.
The only thought to waiting is that Daniel has like 5 discard spells in his deck. If you Narset into your Time Walker Ancestral here, you're probably not feeling the most
The only
optimistic.
way you can get the double impulse is if you do it this time.
Against a Baleful Strix, that's true. Vendetta not looking spectacular here. Honestly, Vendetta doesn't look like the best in this matchup because it kills a non-black creature, and a lot of Daniel's creatures are black, but it's still a powerful card.
It's also not the best to be face up because one of the easier ways for it to be something other than non-black is Phyrexian Metamorph, and now that's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
I love the Mesmeric Fiend card. Remember when Deep Cavern Bat didn't have flying and didn't have lifelink? Mesmeric Fiend remembers.
Sure did. There's a Toxic Deluge. Oh, so here he could have maybe set up the Rat Deluge thing, but he might not have had the Deluge by then.
Yeah.
Who knows?
No, that's a great point.
Well, there's Reanimate, and nothing to get with it. I would assume that Daniel takes the Toxic Deluge here. It'd be kind of tough to justify anything else, I think. Strip Mine looks like it might punish Daniel pretty badly, killing that Swamp. Though his hand is Island. Ooh, that's not a good hand. He's got Island, one other card here. Let's see. Island, Swamp. Oh, all lands? Yeah, the Strip Mine's actually not even that bad in this current situation, given how flooded he is.
This is the person who took Grave Titan over Blitz.
No, he does not have Grave Titan in his deck. I don't think.
You're right. That's the Archon player.
Yeah, I think that's someone different. Yeah. Maybe no. I could be wrong. Actually, I don't. Really
I'm not sure. It's tough to. If you watched yesterday, Luis's ability to track what was going on in Rochester draft was very impressive.
Thank you. I hope to do another high stakes Rochester again. There's not very many of them, but they're very fun.
Well, I hope this thing goes well enough that they do this again. I would have a few tweaks to how they did the Moto part of it, but yeah.
And a lot of tweaks to the cube list. I don't know who they have running those things. I'm only saying that because the architect is in fact watching.
Yeah.
All right. So Luca has a bunch of cards in hand, and is he going to crack things out with no Ancestral, just a Mana Vault. It's pretty tempting to Strip Mine the Swamp. I would imagine that he was going to do that in most circumstances here. Okay. Well, another island. Daniel found the lands he was looking for in game one, unfortunately.
Ginky said he wished that this event had more Jacobovitzes.
He came close to. Oh, Restoration Angel to block Mesmeric Fiend.
That's a hell of a play.
That's some good clean magic. Love that Resto's in.
Mana Vault putting out a Restoration Angel is exactly what Richard Garfield intended. That's pure magic.
Oh, we're going to see an untapped Mana Vault this game, I believe. The way this game's looking, this Mana Vault is going to get untapped at some point. But we'll see.
I don't know, man. That's saying something about Luca's deck that every turn he's not going to have something incredible to do with his mana.
That's true. Well, given the fact that Daniel has 3 islands in hand, doesn't look like this game is progressing too well for him. But as far as we know, Luca has Reanimate and Toxic Deluge in hand and Vendetta. And I think a Swamp. So that's like basically all the cards in hand. I think he has one other card, or maybe... Oh yeah, he has one more card unknown in hand. Let's see what he has to do. I mean, at this point, it's also kind of a stalemate because Baleful Strix can just hold back and block the Resto Angel. Grim Monolith, not really the most impactful here.
Grim Monolith is a tough one when we're already are stretched on mana sources for cards like Massacre Room and Cryptic.
Indeed. And Luca did not untap the Mana Vault. You were correct on that front.
The man has good cards in his deck. Some of the best the game has ever seen.
It's true. You also don't want to be in a spot where you draw a Time Walker Ancestral and are unable to cast them because you untap Mana Vault against a deck that still has 5 discard spells. And I think literally Daniel has like Thoughtseize, Mesmeric Fiend, Grief, Duress, Collective Brutality, Vendilion Click. Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm sure that you and I have both lost games to that mistake with Mana Vault.
I think I'm even on the high end of people who like untapping Mana Vault. It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Because it means you get to tap Mana Vault a second time. Yeah.
And I just, I look to the future. I like to invest in my future. Oh, so this is offering the trade. So Reanimate is now live. Which one are we reanimating, though? That's the real question. Probably Baleful Strix, right?
You would also make this play if your plan was to go land Scarab God.
Definitely. Oh, he's getting the Resto? I don't know.
I like the Resto?
I like getting a card deeper in my Time Walk Ancestral Spellseeker deck.
I would get the Baleful Strix, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's what I'm in for. I mean, it's going to be fine here, but I think that you're more likely to close out the game by drawing one of your powerful cards than by attacking 6 times in a row with Resto Angel.
We don't need to repeat ourselves, but the value of Cantrip for Luca's deck is extremely high.
No. Oh, he's considering it. Is it time? I would untap Mana Vault here, I think.
It seems fine.
Like you can cast Ancestral or Time Walk if you draw them, and you're not doing anything else this turn most likely. I guess the big punish
You
is
have
Scarab God, or like,
No, this is a good play for the Scarab God. If you drew it exactly this turn, it's a little annoying that you can't.
but then
cast
playing
the
and
Scarab God.
activating it, yeah.
But on any future turn, we draw into it with Ancestral or Naturally. Very good.
He also doesn't, from what our perspective here, have double white, so it's not like he could have drawn one of the Planeswalkers either. Well, now he has double white, but he might have just drawn that Plains. All right, will Daniel draw a spell? Well, Wise Drafters will. That's just
I gotta say, for commentating, best card.
I know, I was just gonna say, love it.
You love it. Great design, Kai. Nailed it.
All right, there's Vindicate. That's been added to the pile, as well as Deluge and Vendetta. So kind of brutal for Daniel in that Luca's got his next couple plays covered. So the
my gosh, Vindicate is not that good against the Wise Structures. Well, you target it to get it out of there, and they sack it to draw a card. Ooh,
yeah,
that's nasty.
My guess is you just chill here. Well, this game.
If you have triple black, you should probably do the Vindicate step vector play. I don't know, maybe not. It's not getting better.
Vindicate the Swamp, you said?
No, Vindicate the Wise Drafter as well.
Why?
Is it the only swamp? So you can play the Hypnotic Spectre and not have it get countered.
Hypnotic Spectre? What are you talking about here?
What's the card in the far right?
Toxic Deluge.
Oh, okay.
It's still the Toxic Deluge.
Sorry, my bad.
As cool as Hypnotic Spectre is, and I say this as someone who
That's a card used to be in Cube.
Has a bunch of beta ones. I love the card. Super sick art. It's not been good enough for Cube for quite some time.
No, not really.
All right. No. Flip that bad boy up. We get to look at that one. Oof.
Oh, that was a good one.
Oof. You don't like seeing that.
This has got to be an Ancestral.
Well, now the Wise Drafters will play comes up.
Thank you.
I mean, I imagine you start by Vindicating and letting your opponent get a cantrip, and then you just Ancestral here. Certainly, well, Time Walk. No, I would just Ancestral. Like Time Walk does cut a turn off the clock. Oh, he's just doing this. Okay. Just content to sit there with the Resto and Vindicate in hand and not give Daniel an extra card. That's fair, but...
Well, once you let them get the Ancestral, the Vindicate means the Ancestral resolves. So if you counter the Spellseeker, they definitely don't resolve Ancestral.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good play.
Yes, I'm saying I would have preferred to just Vindicate and just clear the path for that, I think.
Oh, yes, I agree.
But...
Yeah, Luca misplayed, I think.
I mean, it depends on what he thinks this Vindicate is worth. And also, it does give Daniel an additional card. But you get a Spellseeker and an Ancestral, which I think is probably enough to make up for that.
Yeah, I have faith if I'm Luca that my cards are better.
Uh-oh.
That is a card... Ladies and gentlemen, Elspeth is back. We talked about Pack Rat dominating, and this is like the
Those
same
were in the
era
same format, yeah.
where Pack Rat was showing up.
Well, if Daniel draws a Massacre Worm this turn, he can play it, kill the 3 tokens, Luca goes to 7. That is pretty good. And then still has to draw an answer to the rest of it. He drew a counterspell this turn. Oh, that's a tough one. No shame in losing to Luca's deck, I wouldn't say. Even his draws were terrible this game. Really bad. Like, he drew 10 land and 6-7 spells. It's not a great ratio. And you know what?
Do they...
Sometimes that's how it goes.
Are they playing all 3 rounds?
I believe
all players.
I believe all players play all 3 rounds, but I don't actually 100% know the tournament structure. That makes the most sense to me.
I would want to get
there
to
we
play
go.
3
There
rounds
we
with
go.
my deck if I drafted a deck.
Totally. Those are all the undrafted cards Marshall's got in his binder here, and I think you could definitely trust Reed, and I think you could trust Marshall not to abscond with the binder. I don't think he's gonna really throw it away for $10,000 worth of cards or whatever. But
I mean, Marshall is potentially the person with the most expensive object in the room.
Yeah, that watch. I mean, it's a 6-figure watch. Just take my word for it. I don't know what watch he's wearing, by the way. All right, back in here we got Jesse Hampton against Fernando Garcia, and Fernando was the red-black sack deck, splash a little blue, and Jesse was the last-ditch green or blue-white deck, green-blue-white deck. With Mother of Runes getting answered by a Blood Chief's Thirst. That's pretty nice. You got to kill Mother of Runes on site. I will say, the new blocking rules has made Mother of Runes worse. That is actually somewhat relevant to decks playing Mother of Runes.
That's a great point. That is a great point.
Yeah, and that's a great play. Dack Fade and steal your talisman. You love to see that.
No, it's better than that. Not really. It doesn't matter in this case, but because it's a signet.
He can't even tap it.
You can't tap it.
There we go. Jesse's got Mana Crypt in hand, but does he have something to do with it is the thing. Kind of brutal. He ended up playing like 8 basic forests in his deck. That is not where you want to be. He's got a Hallowed Fountain, though, so that does help.
Nobody's in a place they want to be with their mana, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think Fernando Garcia actually has some of the best mana in this draft. And then I don't remember his name, but the guy who had the blue-green deck, which is almost mono-green with a little bit of blue, the Channel Emrakul deck. I think his mana actually pretty good,
Fernando's
too.
mana looked like a 7, and there's a lot of people here with like 4s.
I think Fernando's mana might even be a little better than that. Because he's basically just black-red with 2 fetches and a Zendikar
I didn't think
Lounge.
he had like a crazy amount of blue for his blue cards. It's very reasonable his blue cards could get stranded. But obviously he has 2 blue sources in play right now. So
He could cast Cryptic Command. He's got an island in his hand. And a Scalding Tarn. He could have cast a quad blue card. What are you talking about?
Dude. You're being unreal. Gold Span Dragon. You cannot counter that with Glenelendra. Not that Jesse has blue mana, but...
This does give up your Dak Faden, but I would say Dak did its job. Oh, or does it? Yeah, it does.
It does, but that card's pretty important because that card means if Glenelendra gets sacrificed, it's not going to persist.
I'm a big fan of Glenelendra Archmage. I remember playing Fairies with that card. I remember playing like Mono Blue with that card. A lot of good decks with that card. Another card, can't quite cut the mustard in this day and age in Cube, but still a sweet one.
Because the best cards are 2 and 3 mana creatures. Why are you tapping out on turn 4 for something that doesn't interact with those?
Impulse here from Jesse. He looks pretty unhappy with this, but if you know Jesse, he always looks unhappy, so it's not different from normal. Oh, yeah. Impulse
can come right on over.
Oh, yeah.
Dothy's work has begun, putting void counters on cards that would otherwise go to Jesse's graveyard.
Looking at an opposition, I actually don't know what that little white card in hand is, like a portable hole or something, and then 2 lands, including a Flooded Strand.
Opposition is a tough way to keep some of these cards in check.
Yeah, this looks pretty tough for Jesse. I actually think after looking at the deck list, Fernando's deck ended up looking a lot better than it looked while he was drafting. Part of it is like, as we're Rochestering and looking at the picks, it's the people's standout cards that you kind of remember most, and he didn't...
He was never trying to shoot the moon with his deck. He was just trying to draft a good, notable card that probably isn't particularly expensive, so we didn't care.
Yeah. And he kind of flew under the radar, but it's looking nice, and he has good mana, so I got to give him props for that.
Voidwalker is a nice card.
Fantastic card. Make a treasure, take 7. And if he has any follow-up, he's just almost a lock to win. If he doesn't have follow-up, he's still in very good shape. So, looks like Jesse has a Garruk in his hand. Jesse was one of the biggest like bait and switches, at least from when we saw him draft. I thought he was like Esper, and it turned out he had a very strong green component in his deck.
So, here we go. We are now putting Jesse in checkmate for the Glenelendra.
It has to get sacrificed.
You can counter the Dothy and then...
Exile that Flooded Strand, mister.
Yeah. You can counter the Daretti, and now the Glenelendra is gone. Or you can let the Daretti resolve. It'll sack the treasure, killing the Glenelendra, also making it go into exile. And so Jesse should probably sacrifice Glenelendra here because it's just better to not let Fernando have a Planeswalker after this exchange is done.
Definitely. Do you think Fernando would give any thought to sacrificing the Signet instead of the treasure, just to make it so like Jesse's card betrayed him fully?
That's funny.
All right, Glenn does not come back, and Phyrexian Tower into Ophiomancer. All right,
beautiful.
We're hellbent here.
Phyrexian Tower Ophiomancer is a hell of a combo. I don't think Fernando's going to need that mana. I believe they're hellbent, but
Solemn Simulacrum in hand for Jesse. This does not look like... Oh, he's up a game, though. I didn't notice that till now. So we're going to game 3 here.
All right.
Love the fast action.
I mean, seems like Jesse just never drew particularly good cards to go with this Mana Crypt.
Yeah, that was certainly a part of it. What is this? This is a card I haven't really been able to identify in hand. Oh, Consecrated Sphinx.
That's not terrible.
No, he's dead on board. But otherwise...
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, that would have been good.
I mean, it's Xaxis. You got it close. It's
sure.
in range.
And you got to think, like, does he have something? But he doesn't have Swords to Plowshares, so, like... what exactly are you concerned about at this point, I guess?
Also, probably even if there is a removal spell, it probably just means... what?
It's not going for it. All right. Oh, Jesse, does Jesse have Path in his deck? They did, I assume, have like access to the opponent's pool. So it's possible if he has path.
I just don't think the Goldspan and the Ophiomance are worth that much.
Yeah.
Going long in this game. So it's like...
Jesse does have a coin flip to just lose right now, by the way.
Right, like even if you get blown out, you're still just putting yourself in coin flip in the next few turns to win.
Yeah. But it looks like Jesse is in quite a bit of trouble regardless, though. Yes, giving your opponents extra draws, especially with the Consecrated Sphinx, where every turn is 3 cards instead of 1.
Well, I think at most we're talking about pushing Fernando from like 96 to 98% or whatever. Something like that.
All right. Solemn Simulacrum, a card that we now know will be in Standard for 5 years. Brad was pretty happy about getting to play Solemn, and I responded.
They reprinted it into Standard recently, and nobody played with the card. It was not a good look for Brad that he wasn't aware that we just went through this exercise like 4 years ago.
Well, my response to him was like, yeah, it's going to be legal, but...
Standard's gotten way more powerful than it was even 4 years ago.
All right, so they're going to Game 3, and got to give big props to Reed and Marshall, by the way. Marshall commenting this after a long day of coverage. Reed, after a long day of playing and finishing 32nd at Worlds, hopping right into the booth. It's quite the slog, you know. Jesse mulliganing here for Game 3.
While we're waiting for Mulligan to resolve, somebody asked in chat, what do we think about the rules change regarding damage assignment? And I think we did hit on a good point. We said it earlier about Mother of Runes. Mother of Runes is actually a lot worse.
I'm fine with that. Mother of Runes is kind of a stupid card. Like, anything that makes it worse really doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I think overall the change is going to be negligible. It's a good rules change. It just doesn't come up that often. And you're really not going to notice it. You could probably play for a year and have it literally not come up.
Somebody asked what the new rules are. The new rules, just say it one time for everybody, is that when you double block, there are no longer such a thing as ordering blockers. The order and where damage gets assigned is just picked by the player after the priority is all done and cleared.
Yeah, which is kind of how Magic used to work as well. So, and you can now assign, like, your 2/2 gets blocked by 2/2/2s. You can assign a 1 to each of them and then cast a deal 1 to all creatures or something. These are all things that can happen.
That one's good. Is actually probably more notable than the other one.
Yeah,
that one will just come up more because it's more common that combat tricks and playing like Mother of Runes stuff, it isn't really constructed, but certainly playing cheap sweepers and making attacks into that is a thing.
Yeah, but how often are you even double blocked in those scenarios anyway? So
it's true.
All right, Jesse mulling to 5 here. That's a tough way to go out, unfortunately. Though, you know, if you draw Mana Crypt in your opening hand, which currently he has not, a mull to 5 is, I mean, that's kind of like it's already 2 cards in one, basically.
A big problem for Jesse is that he's playing 3 colors without a lot of duels, and then it's just really hard to, like, keep all of your colors and keep cards. It really helps when you mulligan if you can keep like 2 lands but be getting a dual land to give you 3 colors, and then you just have like can hopefully draw lands to draw you out.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to end up keeping something like Glen Elendra, Signet, and lands, which that's a fine hand. I mean, I don't know what his last card he's going to put back is here, but you just got to hope that this Glen Elendra does the trick. Fernando Garcia with the patented just, you know, take a long drink of water while your opponent puts their mulls to 5. I've run that one a few times. You got to get hydrated, you know.
Yeah, man.
All right, and no Xander's Lounge to start with, but turn 1 Grim Lavamancer. All right. Oh, Fractured Identity. That is a card that can get you back after a mull to 5 for sure.
Absolutely.
You land that thing on a Goldspan or what have you.
It is a good old clean 2-for-1.
Sometimes more. Grim Lavamancer also could be a card you don't mind them drawing if they don't have a lot of cards that go to the graveyard, though Fernando's deck seems pretty well suited with a couple fetches and in Dak Vaden. Oh, we're powering something out. What's going on here? A turn 2 Duretti. So I think part of the reason I like this play. Part of the reason you want to do this is you can kill that. Is it Signet in a turn here? Duretti can kill artifacts. That's a pretty big game.
Also, you're just continuing to make your Phyrexian Tower a soul land every turn by just plussing Duretti. That's phenomenal. And,
oh man, that Warren Power Stone's not long for this world. Jesse was really hoping to draw a land and just play Glen Elendra, I think.
What? That was like...
Oh, Dak Faden on the Warren Power Stone.
Jesse,
stop.
Oh my gosh.
He's already dead.
Get a screenshot of Jesse's face the moment that Dak Faden came down.
And then Duretti finishes off the Signet.
It was all right there. It was like...
Oh, how do you feel when you say go and your opponent has 2 planeswalkers they can activate? You don't have a third land. Yeah, this is tough. This is tough. So Dak Faden gets through 2 lands. Urza Saga.
This is the thing that happened to all of us while these guys were on their sick runs to making it to
Yeah,
Vegas.
yeah, totally.
But Fernando, the good times keep on rolling here.
I mean, look, you got to pick your spots. This is a good
Using
one.
all of this mana, my
Every
goodness.
turn,
Oh,
gold spin dragon. Just we're done here. Jesse extends the hand. Good on him, but
Oh, and like when your opponent has in this spot where you're way behind and all they have is a gold span attacking you, you could be like, maybe someday they'll just brick on like drawing a good card. But with Dak Faden, it's not happening. It's not happening. It was over. So if that looked like an early concession, it was not. That was over.
No. If anything, that was a late concession. When you pass the turn on 2 lands, they have 2 planeswalkers.
Dude, if you were
that's an acceptable
if you were in a feeder league, you have scooped before the Dak Faden has targeted the Warren Powers.
Oh yeah, I was not even.
We're
taking
in the
turn
next
there.
queue, but that wasn't the way it could go. All right, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Is this are coming to a Magic the Gathering near you? What's going on?
These are Ultimate Guard deck boxes that look like Ninja Turtles and Shredder and Krang. I think was his name. This is cool. You know, most ads I would just like switch over, but this is actually an Ultimate Guard ad.
I really like the Turtles, especially because the Turtles have this naturally like boxy build to them because
whereas
of their
look
shells.
like April and Splinter. It's like looking
They
a little
look
weird.
a little, yeah.
But like those turtles are great.
on.
Who's your favorite turtle?
Leonardo.
Yeah, of course. I like Donatello. He had the staff.
I'm the oldest son. I got to be the Leonardo. You know.
As am I. Yeah, we know how to keep him in line.
Yeah. You're about to have a Leonardo.
yeah, that's true. That actually
you
is
have a
very
Leonardo. You're about to get the rest of the 4.
No, I think we're literally going to have a Leo.
Fair. Good point. Wait, does that mean that your son is going to also be LSV? Wow. That's some pressure.
Yeah.
Legacy to live up to.
Something like that.
Oh, man.
One thing I really like about working with Ultimate Guard, by the way, is they just keep looking for cool things to make. And honestly, I know the folks at UG, and they just make things they think are cool. Like they're all just like consummate fans of like the game and the things they're doing, and like so many of their initiatives, including something like this cube, like this whole cube event, is literally because they thought it would be cool. They just spend a lot of time brainstorming what would be awesome to do.
They've hired Magic players.
Oh yeah.
Am I staying in Luis's guest house? No, I live a couple miles away, so it's pretty easy to just pop over.
Yeah. Disappointing day 2 for JD, by the way. He 7-0'd into 9-5 to miss, losing to Kai in the last round.
That is disappointing.
Yeah, that's tough. I gotta say that is a beat, you know. But like you said, we're gonna get some really long tweet threads about it. So there is that. JD, if you don't follow him on Twitter, John Emmanuel Duprat, he's a great follow. He's talks very like directly with no ego, and he's very smart and analytic, and that's a great combination.
Yeah, he's very thoughtful.
I'm excited for this top 8 of Worlds tomorrow, by the way.
Did you add Wrath of Leknif and Wise Drafter's Will to your cube? I mean, I would definitely be down to play them if they put them on Moto. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think Wrath of Leknif would actually, at this point, be a reasonable card. For those who don't know what it is, it's Finkel's Invitational Submission that never got printed, of course. It's 1 white, blue, Wrath of God, but you also untap 4 lands. And as obviously out of control, stupid good as that would have been in the 90s or 2000s when he submitted it, I think in current days Vintage Cube, it would be a good card, but it wouldn't be like an obscene card. Like you could put that card in the cube.
I think it would be a smart thing for Moto to try, to be like, hey, we took 10 playtest cards, we spent the time to get them built on Moto, we're going to see how much better the Vintage Cube numbers are with them up, and then decide if that's the thing we want to do moving forward.
I would not add Wise Drafter as well. I think that's just a very unfun card.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that one either. But Wrath of Leknif sounds cool.
Yeah, I think that card actually is by power level standards. Like you would take a Minsc and Boo over it. Like you would take a Mana Leak over it. I think
I would not copy the frame that they use for the playtest cards. I think it's just not good that Magic cards look that bad and like sloppily made. Like I think you should just make the cards look good. It's more fun to play with cards that look nice.
My guess is that's part of the pitch for that whole product is it's a lot cheaper to make.
I get the concept, but it's just
But so we've got 2 winners that we know of so far. I'm really curious to see how the blue-green deck did, because that's one I want to see in action. Hopefully we get a chance to see that. Though I think, and if someone can correct me if I'm wrong, they do play out probably all 3 rounds each because that's the best way to determine 1 through 8, as opposed to just like, the 4 people who lost in top 4 and the 2 who lost in top 2 or whatever. Most O3 decks don't look like O3 decks. It's hard. It's hard to O3 a draft. Like you have to get pretty unlucky in general because like even if your deck is bad, you play against someone at O2, right? So you have to, even at the end, you have probably close to a coin flip no matter how bad your deck is.
It also really depends a lot on the nature of the event that you're in. So, for instance, many times, but a couple of times, maybe it's happened when I played somebody at O2 at a Pro Tour draft. It was just like, I don't think you've played much draft in your life was my takeaway. Yeah. When I played my opponent.
Matt Ness actually got was the beneficiary of one of the quirks of multi-day tournaments today, where he went X-1 on day 1, so he's in pod 1, and he won round 1 of drafts. He's now 9-1, and he plays against someone else who's 9-1, who's actually lost round 1 of draft because he was undefeated going in, lose round 1, but still has a good enough record. So it's actually one of the downsides of being someone in a pod. When you're 8-0 and other people in the pod are 7-1, you're going to lose round 1 and still play someone who won round 1, which it doesn't mean
you O2, you'll play somebody who's won 1.
Yeah. So, again, the records aren't everything, but a 1-0 deck is on average better than an 0-1 deck. That's just, you've got to bet that way, right? Ely Cassis had a ham sandwich and went 2-1. Well, we were actually talking about this earlier. Ely is one of the people who's highest on the list of, he drafts extremely unconventionally, and his decks look like piles a lot because, he uses a very different strategy in terms of drafting and constructing them. But he's obviously a world-class elite player, and he's very consistent, and he knows exactly what he's doing. So much like, Sam Black or someone like that, you would not end up with the decks they draft, but it's not a bad strategy for them.
Ely?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get another match here soon.
There's definitely something to when you play suboptimally in Magic about, are you going from something where if you played it the best way you could, you would have a 40% chance or a 30% chance or whatever, versus it's 2% worse, as opposed to you took a strategy, you built a deck where it's just you don't have outs.
Yeah.
Your deck is not capable of putting together a good, powerful draw. And that.
All right, let's take a look at Rex Jakovitz's deck. Really great red-white deck here. He's got.
Do we assume he won round 1 if we're seeing his deck?
I think so. Yeah. He's only got 2 duels, but he's also got a Black Lotus hidden under that Smuggler's Copter there. And Ragavan, Palace Jailer, Fable, Fury, Chandra, Council's Judgment. These are all just fantastic cards. Thalia, Giver of Runes, Containment Priest.
So can I give the folks at home a tip? So if you ever have a Black Lotus deck, you want to spend some time and look at what are the cards in my deck that I could probably win the game with if I played them on turn 1 with Lotus, and try to have a sense. It's worth looking at the hypergeometric calculator for what percentage chance you have of mulliganing on certain hands to that and to something that's game winning, because it's really tough to mulligan with a Black Lotus. Anyway, Fernando's deck. Yeah,
this is the deck we just saw beat Jesse pretty soundly with Duretti and Dak, though he lost game 1, of course. Red-black sack, and it looks like this will be the matchup we're watching here. So, Dothy Voidwalker, Marionette Apprentice. The key cards in this matchup, Ophiomancer, honestly, Goblin Bombardment, Pyrokinesis. Pyrokinesis is a pretty good counter to some of the Lotus draws you could have, right? You Lotus out a Hell Rider.
When I have a red-black deck and don't have Fire Covenant. It always feels like you can get it, but not here.
A couple of Dragons. Bitter Blossom, not the best. Meathook Massacre. A big part of this is who draws their 0-mana artifact, because that's going to speed them up a lot.
Some nice cards with Meathook.
Yeah.
Some tokens.
All right, I don't see a Black Lotus, so that's the first bullet dodged for Fernando here. And
which deck we saw a little bit, we've seen kind of both decks. Which deck do you like in the matchup?
Honestly, I think Fernando's deck actually looks pretty good here. The Pyrokinesis and the Fire Ice go a long way. Some of the draws that involve those cards are going to be pretty awkward for Rex, and the Planeswalkers are decent.
This doesn't look like a good matchup for the Dak Faden and Fernando's deck.
No, not so much. Rex had to mulligan a hand of planes, and some red cards and white cards, but also, I would
like to argue Rex got to mulligan in his Black Lotus deck.
That's what I was going to say. Like you mentioned, Black Lotus subsidizes mulliganing an insane degree, because if you just draw a Black Lotus, you don't care if you're on 5 cards some of the time. Obviously.
It depends on what you draw with. If you draw with a Sarah Paragon, I really don't care.
Or, even a turn 1 Palace Jailer is just a great play. It just puts your opponent into a really tough spot.
Why are you not playing in this event? It was hard to qualify. So if there's a good time we could mention this right now, like how did these people get here? If you didn't participate on Moto this summer, every week they had feeder leagues on Friday or on like Saturday and Sunday. If you 4-0'd one of them, you got to play in a 64-man cube draft during the week. That was 2 drafts in a row. If you won both of those, there were 8 of them during the week, you got to play in one final draft on the weekend. And if you 3-0'd that...
Am I losing my mind? Is there a Past in Flames in his hand?
That would be bizarre.
There's just no chance that's a card he meant to play. That's what he's got to be talking to the judge about this right now. He must have picked up some sideboard cards or something. I wonder how much live Magic he's played.
Yeah. The simplest way to describe it, I think, how hard it was to get there was every weekend for 2 days you could try to go 4-0, and every time you went 4-0, you got the opportunity to go 9-0.
Yeah. So you didn't have to win 13 matches in a row. You had to win 9 in a row, regardless. You had to go 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. And to get the opportunity, you had to 4-0 at some point in order to play it. It looks like they're counting the library. Yeah. I mean, this is definitely a thing that could happen here.
Stream looks dead. Stream lagging hard for me. Are we dropping frames?
No.
I see 0 dropped frames, so it's probably on your end.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We're seeing it's not lagging for us. We're watching.
It's possible there's an issue with Twitch, but Twitch isn't telling us in terms of dropping frames through Steam Labs.
Yeah. And more importantly, if you're watching this on YouTube, it doesn't look like the recording's going wrong. So
no, that's probably fine.
Rewarded once again for patience. All right, so Rex and the judges are figuring out what's going on. If you're Fernando here, you're thinking, like, this is money. Like, one way or another, this can't be bad for you. Like, don't you want to win? Your opponent molding to, like, maybe having to mold a 5? Like,
what's going on? Why is Rex's deck, like, in... What is happening?
I don't know what's happening. There's a lot of piles here. I honestly, like...
Wait, do you think it's possible that Rex realized during mulliganing that he had Past in Flames in his deck and is like, wait, Past in Flames isn't supposed to be in my deck?
Yes, no, he drew it in his second hand.
Right, and he's not, and he's like, didn't de-sideboard? I don't understand. Or he shuffled his sideboard in?
He shuffled his sideboard in, which is funny because, like, obviously we've played many thousands of live matches. Like, I think if you gave me a 44-card limited deck, I'd just be able to tell it wasn't 40, like, in a lot of the cases. Like, you know, and if it was like a 50-card deck, it wouldn't even be close.
Stuff happens. Pretty early on in my Magic career, I just realized it's an insane spew if every time you shuffle when you are presenting, every time you're about to present, if you don't pile count right before that. You just need to track right there. Do I not have 60? Do I not have 40?
It looks like he has 45 cards.
Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah. Hopefully because he found it during sideboarding or during mulliganing, there's actually not, I think, a really much of a penalty because they just take the cards out that are in a sideboard. Like, he didn't get any advantage. So these are cards that were not, especially if it's game 1. Yeah. Game 2 actually gets a lot dicier. He could have, in game 2, I think he'd be out of luck. Because in limited, you could just side up to 45. What's his, I don't know what they would do then.
I don't know.
In any case, Rex, I believe, is mulling to 6, and I don't know what else happens that.
Well, you should pile shuffling once is reasonable. There is no reason to pile shuffle multiple times.
I never pile shuffle.
Okay.
I don't think it's worthwhile.
Not to count? You don't count your deck before you present?
I just pick up my deck and I know how many cards it is, so.
That's great. I don't think you're...
I've never presented a 41 or 39 card deck, so...
It's fine. It's hard for me to believe you never lost a card at some point.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I've just been able to tell.
Oh, fair enough. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and I do. So there we go. A matched pair. I played with 39 once on Moto.
You certainly aren't that tight with managing your decks on Moto.
That's a very different thing. I can't pick up my deck on Moto.
It tells you it on the screen usually.
There's a Black Lotus. There we go. We're going to get this game started. All right. Turn 1 Lotus. Oh, he's got Flicker Wisp and Touch the Spirit Realm. So now this is a spot where it's really important to know Fernando's deck list. Against, Daniel in round 1, you have to play the Lotus. He has 17 Duresses. Against Fernando, if you're not going to use the Lotus, I don't think you need to play it. You don't want it getting killed or some way. And now if you're Fernando, you see the Lotus hit and you're just like, all right, give it to me. What's going to go on? It looks like it's a Flicker Wisp. Yeah.
I don't hate it.
But it's not a winning play. It might be the play you make. What's going on? He was putting the card.
He was putting too much effort to represent the Flicker Wisp faction. It's fine. We get it.
I believe in that spot I would not even target with the Flicker Wisp.
I would definitely not pick it up. I'd just be like, okay, it's untapped.
All right, and then Dothy Voidwalker. All right, well, the Lotus got used before the Voidwalker, but there's a Fire Ice in hand here. Wow, it's interesting. He has a 73% win rate on Cube on Moto.
Voidwalker is a very good reason to have just gotten the Lotus done.
Definitely. That actually feels like a pretty good reward for Rex here. He's got a Touch the Spirit Realm that he's not going to want to use quite yet, but he can smash and then play a land.
I'm going to get to attack for 3. Has this man ever used physical cards before? I don't know.
It's possible that he has not played a ton of paper Magic. I mean, I know a lot of people who
I just
played.
think it's just, if I was just ever handling cards that were worth this much money, I would just be like kind of a mess.
Well,
I'm not saying Rex is a mess. I'm just saying that's how I would be.
I don't think Rex is intimidated by that. He owns a software company, so I imagine he's doing fine. And he's raising 2 sons who play Magic. You gotta be loaded if that's what's going on.
I'm not funny. I'm not saying that I would be like scared of like damaging the cards or whatever. It'd just be like cool, exciting. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love shuffling my Lotus. All right, so now he's got Touch the Spirit Realm for the Voidwalker. Oh, Gabby has a great point. After the whole like mulligan sideboard debacle, a lot of people would be flustered at that point.
That's a great point too.
Like I could not fault anyone for that. All right, so smashing here and getting you're fired. Dunk dunk, and then that gets exiled with a void counter on it. It's not going to be caught immediately, but Fernando's going to remind him, or the judges, I guess. And the pretty natural play is to just cast Touch the Spirit Realm here. Though you could Leon a Relic Order, but just I hate when there's a Dothy Voidwalker and playing the other side. It's one of those cards that just makes me feel very uncomfortable. I don't know about you, but I always feel like something horrible is going to happen. Which in this case, there's not even anything that bad. You know, it's not like Flicker Wisp is such a great card to put into play. But sure, I just always feel like something bad is about to happen when they have a Dothy Voidwalker.
Yeah. It's a freaky card.
I mean,
my favorite play with Dothy
imagine if they thought
Voidwalker.
scour you.
Well, I was gonna say Brain Freeze. You know, I like
Oh
to
yeah,
really
yeah, live it
get
up.
it going.
Oh, Mayhem Devil and Polluted Delta.
Mayhem and Urza Saga.
Oh, you have to sacrifice it
Yeah, you sacrifice it.
That is just extremely strong. Mayhem Devil's a card which I think is not quite there for current Vintage Cube, but I gotta say I love the inclusion in this one. It's a sweet card. Oh, this is going to be some real good. This is a really good counterplay. Getting to go Chandra, kill the Mayhem Devil, though I guess the Delta finishes off the Chandra.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Sick.
Look at that.
This is some really pure Magic right now.
Yeah. I like Fernando's spot. I didn't, it was a dark horse. Like I didn't going in think that how good of a deck he had, but now that we've seen it in action and seen all the deck lists, like
it's as good as Luca's, but
it's not as good as Luca's. But I mean, a ham sandwich with Spellseeker, Ancestral Timewalk, Moxjet would be pretty good. Yeah. I mean, so he's got Urza Saga. One of the burdens with Urza Saga in a event like this is remembering all your opponent's targets. It's one of those things that I know stresses a lot of people out because you technically should know all the things they have, but you don't necessarily.
Interesting. Okay.
Lunar Relic Ward on Saga, I actually kind of like that play, especially since there's the Delta Ping Chandra on board. You're just trading for Mayhem Devil. The only thing you're running a risk of is Fernando having another Trinkety Sacrifice card to get the Saga back.
Yeah. The upside here is that Fernando needs to use the Delta for mana and then doesn't have the Chandra play
available,
the Delta Ping Chandra play.
Let's see what this is. Oh, a Marionette Apprentice. All right. Likely making a 1/1. I think that's going to be pretty good with a future Saga if you still have the artifact in play.
Marionette Apprentice is a nice card. It's kind of like a much better version of cards that we've seen in the past that were like generally cards like this have just not been good enough. But this one is both a token maker and a blood artist. And it's like, yeah, we've never had a token making blood artist before.
Yeah. It's in my cube right now. I mean, I think it generally gets played when it gets opened in a pack. All right. So Rex probably priced into just using this Chandra now, I'd imagine. I don't know really what your kind of what's your outlook if you wait,
It's not getting better.
All right, here comes Chandra, and I imagine it's just ping the Mayhem
Rex
Devil.
So friendly, offering Fernando the opportunity to read Chandra. My guess, I've seen Fair MTG in the queues a lot. Did not need to know the text of Chandra Torch of Defiance.
No. I would assume most anyone who qualified for this knows all the text of all the very commonly played cube cards, like Voidwalker or Zasaga or what have you. So it's Polluted Delta with a Polluted Delta Mayhem Devil interaction is not a common one. That I will say.
Yes, you're only. Somebody in chat asked if they at home should also be wearing their Channel Fireball jerseys or shirts.
I would assume so. Otherwise, you're not allowed to watch it. I mean, if you watch, then again, if you don't have a Hawaiian Ultimate Guard shirt, I don't know if you can watch the other streams. So,
or a $100,000 watch, one of the two.
Yeah, or both, like Marshall.
He just read a fetch land. I mean.
I
would read just to make sure. I don't know. It's fine.
I think that was less about Polluted Delta and more about Mayhem Devil, which I think is pretty reasonable. There goes Blood Chief's Thirst, getting back the Lunar Relic Order, or killing the Lunar Relic Order, getting back Urza's Saga. And Bash for 2. So Rex has nothing else right now. Fernando, I don't know what his cards in hand are. I think one might be a Pyrokinesis. I don't know, but this is the kind of game where with that Urza Saga, kind of progressing, I think that Rex is going to need something like 4 good spells in a row, which is, well, that's a land. That's not a start to it really. And so he's not dead here, but I think he might be pretty much in danger if he didn't draw anything that turn.
Rex deck did not look like it had a ton of cards that were good at catching up. One of the better cards Rex could draw is probably Showdown of the Scalds. Like, there's not so much stuff on the board that you couldn't hit some interactive plays and catch up here. Drew Paulo.
Even Paulo couldn't win this game.
But we're going to get an idea of how dead Rex is. If, Fernando's making a couple of tokens and has a couple of removal spells in hand, then yeah, this game is like basically locked out for Rex. But we'll see. Let's see the hand. Polar V2 Damada Rosa's World Championship winning card, Elite Spellbinder.
Glorybringer and Zealous Conscripts.
Yeah, I said 2 removal cards in hand. I did not envision in my head that they were less good of removal. And Zealous Conscripts and Glorybringer both being haste threats that also remove a creature from play for your opponent when they come. Whew, that's tough.
I mean, this is just lethal, right? I would assume.
If Fernando's going to get into like a really kind of tough decision about whether or not he should make another token with Saga or tap out for whichever 5-drop isn't cost increased from Paulo.
Fernando looking pretty chill there. Kind of like when Rex is, mulling to 5, you're just looking there. I got a good hand. This feels pretty good,
So as it stands, Rex has lethal if they just go make a Saga token, Fernando, yes. Make a Saga token, untap, get any artifact with Saga, Zealous Conscripts, your Elite Spellbinder, and attack you. And they can get to lethal either way if they want to. If they have a Mox Emerald, they could also potentially just tap the Urza Saga for mana here. They put the counter on. Technically, I don't think, or maybe the trigger's on the stack. I don't know. That's fine. They get the mana. So they're just getting the mana, and I guess you get Emerald unless your opponent has like Mana Tithe in their deck. I guess I would Glorybringer first.
Sure, yeah.
It's a little bit safer against removal, but it's so obvious that Rex doesn't really have removal and did just top deck this Elite Spellbinder. It's so unlikely that Rex has something in hand right now that could do anything. Yeah,
there's just no way. Boom, boom, boom. Exert. And that's lethal. 5 or 7, 8, 9 damage, something like that. All right, game 1 to Fernando here. Despite the turn 1 Lotus, but it was obviously one of it was literally the weakest thing Rex could ever cast off Lotus where he'd still cast it. There's not much worse in his deck to play on turn 1.
Before the game, we talked about looking at how many cards do I have in my deck that will put me in a prime winning position if I have them on turn 1 with Lotus. Flicker Wisp was not a card that would have been above that line.
Not against the Mayhem Double Goblin Bombardment Pyrokinesis Fire Ice deck. Yeah, no. Yeah, I could agree with that, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious if anyone in chat knows how Jesse Hampton finished at Worlds.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because what I'm thinking is Reed, nailed the top 32. 2 of his teammates made top 8. Doing coverage here has got to be feeling pretty good. Whereas Jesse, I think if he maybe didn't finish at Worlds where he wanted, and then is playing out this draft where he didn't open any power, and he's mulliganing against the guy who's deck feeding his artifacts every time.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching on YouTube by now, you might know who won top 8.
It's true. All right. Well, this looks like a beater of a draw. Rex had turn 1 Student of Warfare, turn 2 Thalia versus Fernando's.
We have the Lotus.
Oh, there goes the Lotus.
The Jacobovitz luck this weekend is just an unstoppable force, but we do have Lotus in our hand after Thalia came down, so
it's a dark ritual instead of a instead of a kicked Cabal ritual. Yeah, it looks like Jesse did not make day 2, unfortunately, so probably not the most happy he's ever been.
I mean, I think the obvious line here is just Lotus, Chandra kill Dothi.
Yeah.
You can't play that. You could ritual out this wedding announcement, I think it is, but I don't know why you'd care that much.
Yeah. So he's trying to figure out kind of how to sequence here. He's got a Student of Warfare in play as well, though. Lotus, so he's got to pay 1. Does that
tricky, Rex says. You have pointed out a potential flaw in my plan, but fortunately for Rex, we know that his probable best play, Chandra, could still be played through the Thalia tax being applied twice. Rex might not have been aware of the Thalia tax for either card. We don't know.
Yeah, it's all right. Well.
Once again, another tricky maneuver. The Dothi Voidwalker has exiled the Lotus.
Well, not a big downside for Rex if he's just going to kill the Voidwalker because there's no way to replay the Lotus either. And here comes Chandra, I believe, for the full 5. Boom.
Here we go.
Yeah,
that's the math that we have applied all the Thalia. Not triggers, but taxes. Taxes have been paid.
I mean, Fernando leading on Swamp. Swamp is how you cast Dothi, so he could have a fine hand in terms of mana. And, yep, there goes the Voidwalker. And a Bash for 3. I would imagine.
Not a whole lot of risk of a haste card in Fernando's deck.
Yeah.
I don't think... I mean, they have red cards, but I don't think they have, Robber the Rich or anything like that.
So, Fernando here, he's got a Fire Ice in hand, and if he doesn't, he might not have red here.
Not having red would be really bad for the fire, because let me tell you, this is the perfect turn. You get to kill Thalia. You get to kill Chandra.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, theoretically, if you thought you had a good answer for Chandra but didn't for Student of Warfare, you could kill Student of Warfare and Chandra too.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to tell because some of the cards are promo. I don't know if he has an untapped red or not. But, what it might be also is I think he's got Xander's Lounge in hand and he has to take a turn off to play it, perhaps. He's got a Dark Ritual in hand. Dark Ritual certainly gets quite a bit worse with a Thalia in play. It turns into a Rite of Flame.
How do you not go to Cabal Ritual?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no. That's a great point. Mea culpa. You know? All right, there goes the Xander's Lounge.
We're going to left field.
Oh, this is a tough one. The Xander's Lounge, he didn't draw it on turn 1 because he would have been able to play the Dothi on turn 2. So that was a beat. So now Rex, I would assume, goes Plains and then leads on the Chandra tick up because he doesn't need the mana from Chandra to do anything here.
Yes. Plains Chandra. No. You cannot play a land. Rex, no. Oh, Rex, guys. That was close, Rex.
Yeah, didn't get punished.
Close one.
Didn't get punished.
Really close.
Yeah. It's possible he didn't draft Chandra during his run-ups either.
It didn't come on.
All right, there goes a Elite Spellbinder here. I like it. Now we get to see Fernando's hand. Oh, Meat Hook Massacre Dark Ritual.
Oh,
he's also cooking.
Is nice, but let me tell you, Spellbinder makes the Meat Hook take a bit of time. Plus with Thalia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a Phyrexian Tower.
The problem is the Fire Ice now only kills Chandra or Elite Spellbinder.
Well, I think you just are getting down the Bitter Blossom until you can set up the Phyrexian Tower for Meat Hook Massacre.
Oh, Bitter Blossom. Can you imagine just tapping out for... I guess you could play a Grim Lavamancer too, but like casting a Bitter Blossom against...
Could you Dark Ritual if the Meat Hook gets taken? So let's see. So right now you have 1, 2, 3. That's 4, 5 mana. No, that's not enough. You could only do an X = 0 Meat Hook Massacre. So yeah, you can't Meat Hook next turn no matter what.
Yeah, this is tough. The Elite Spellbinder there is extremely punishing. And Meat Hook is I think the clear play. Some good play by Rex there. And I just can't imagine casting Bitter Blossom when you're getting attacked for 6 and then Chandra's getting activated.
Man, chat's throwing around some wild accusations.
Chat's cooking, but
we're gonna let him cook tonight.
We're gonna let him cook. That's where I'm at. All right, so and then now Plains is gonna level up the Student of Warfare once, and bash for 3 here with Thalia and Student of Warfare.
I give credit to whoever's putting on this production. Solid camera dice. Sometimes the dice are not big enough for the stream audience. These dice are very clear and crisp.
Yeah, I mean that's at this point best practices is to just make sure you have all that ready for stream. And Fernando here, he drew a Dak Faden, and as you said, Dak Faden not at his best in this matchup. Not that he could cast it. So now, where are we at? You could Fire Ice like Thalia and the Elite Spellbinder, leaving you to face down a Student of Warfare and a Chandra. You could fire just the Chandra, and then let's see what, you take 6, but you're just so far from Dark Ritual into Meat Hook, given the Elite Spellbinder here.
You can't fire and Bitter Blossom, huh?
No, you certainly cannot. I mean, Thalia is a hell of a card sometimes.
Yeah, Thalia's doing work.
So I think Fernando is not going to be able to come back here. I mean, obviously he's got some cards that are powerful in this instance, but I just don't think he's going to be in a spot where he just has the time to do it. There's just too much pressure. Like if he was able to fire last turn, kill Chandra and Thalia or something, or Chandra Student Warfare, obviously a very different game. But at this point, it's just not really going to be plausible, I don't think. But we'll see. Yeah, stranger things have happened. The Phyrexian Tower looking a little less good here, though. Maybe he sets it up with a little Grim Lavamancer to tower. Okay, looks like a Fire Ice here. And this is the face of someone who can't really afford to kill that Chandra. So he's going to kill the Student of Warfare and the Thalia. Oh, and then Dark Ritual into Bitter Blossom? Okay.
Pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I like that play. I think that is Fernando's best play.
That was hard turn, and I think Fernando made the best decision.
Yeah, for sure.
I wasn't trying to figure it out, but I was thinking about the possibilities, and yeah, this seemed better than anything I was thinking about.
And then, but now he's probably going to 8 this turn and facing down whatever Rex plays. Let's see. Flicker Wisp. Oh.
That is nasty.
Flicker Wisp on Elite Spellbinder. I mean, it's less good than before because Fernando's played all his good cards.
I guess the Meat Hook's already in the yard or gone. You can't touch the Spirit Realm Bitter Blossom.
So next turn...
this is very scary. Rex is reading the touch of the Spirit Realm because you could throw that card in the bin if you cast it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, next turn, the Tower pays for Elite Spellbinder. Those two pay for the Meat Hook. You can Meat Hook for 1, maybe 2. off of Phyrexian Tower Bitter Blossom.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. All right, it's going to tick up Chandra. Oh, he could... No, he can't take it up for mana. He doesn't have enough white.
I don't know how he got to 1. Yeah, okay. There we go.
Fury, that's just going to be a nug for 2. Can't play that one.
Close. If we had a land in hand, that would have been awkward. But it is 3 non-land cards in
Gets
Rex's
exiled
hand.
without a void counter.
That's true. We need separate exile zones in 2024 Magic.
And, well, I mean, sooner we're going to need another one for your Iron Man Arsenal zone, but, you know.
That's true.
So
yeah, that seems like a Final Fantasy thing. You gotta tab over to the right exile zone to equip.
True. All right, so now what's Rex's play? Obviously, besides attacking down to 8, Flicker Wisp, maybe Flicker Wisp on Spellbinder. The thing is, that's actually going to play pretty badly into Meathook Massacre. So Fernando, I think, is still going to be in a tremendous amount of... Oh, he did this before attacking. Okay, that sure helps Fernando's case. Getting spotted 3 points of life is...
All right, I'm back.
Yeah.
It's tough. You play on camera maybe for the first time.
It's tough. I will say I have made some pretty atrocious plays on camera, so... But I've had a lot of opportunities to do so. I've been given a lot of shots. All right, Elite Spellbinder comes in. I guess you hit Dak Faden. I mean, we kind of have a game here. Now that he's at 11, he's not quite as bad against this Chandra ticking down.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't make our board better against Meathook Massacre.
No, the Meathook Massacre is actually looking fantastic here. The Phyrexian Tower is like, I mean, that card is... It actually means that if Fernando... Oh, actually, you needed to take the Grim Lavamancer. Because if Fernando drew a land, he could have Meathooked and played Lavamancer. As is, he's going to sack the Bitter Blossom.
Can't you already do that?
No, because the Elite Spellbinder is on the Meathook.
Oh, right. It's costing everything right now. Yeah, that's fair. And
so it doesn't look like Fernando drew a land here.
A very taxing game.
All right, well, I've been liking Phyrexian Tower. I mean, should we put that in the cube?
Oh, I'm down.
Could be kind of sweet. All right.
Yeah.
Meathook for 1.
Dude, you splash...
And gain 2 life. It's actually really nice.
I've seen you splash Tolarian Academy in mono white decks. Phyrexian Tower does a much better job of that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sponsy.
What did Sponsy say?
If you think about it, raising a son that can win twice when some commentators couldn't win even once is pretty impressive. All right, well,
yeah.
Meathook takes out those 2.
Is that why you're having 2 kids?
Yeah, give him
2 more.
So he puts him up to 12 here, offsets the Bitter Blossom a little bit. He's still a ton of trouble against this Chandra here.
It's bad.
All right, take it up. Giver of Runes, yeah. Slam.
Yeah, it's probably worth it.
Yeah, I would say so. Oop, now we're getting hit by the lag that some people were describing in Twitch. Yeah. All right, looks like we're back.
The Phyrexian Tower real nice with the Bitter Blossom and the Meathook Massacre. You get the ability to sort of sacrifice things on demand.
Yeah, unfortunately for Fernando, the life gain is on your opponent's stuff dying. He would kind of, like, even though that was good the first time it came down, long term he might have rathered it be the other way.
I mean, you're going to...
So he gets a wedding announcement token. I guess the judge is probably going to get that for him now. And so he gets a Bitter Blossom token. The problem is I just don't know how Fernando can deal with this Chandra. He drew a Mox, it looks like. And he's got Grim. Is that a Curse Scroll? Oh, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
He can play Curse Scroll. He's just going to kill the Giver of Runes right away,
If you're Luis, you have to tell the Zoomers what Curse Scroll is.
Okay. Curse Scroll is a 3 artifact. You 3 and tap, and you name a card, and then you reveal a card at random from your hand, and if it's the named card, it deals 2 damage to any target. So with 1 card in hand, you just name Grim Lavamancer, and you auto get there. And boom. The deck is still in his hand. That's a great point, Aber. The way they're representing this is not... Oh, no, it's not. It's got a Spellbinder. That's not how that works. Yeah. It is actually exiled. So he's going to... So he just hit the Chandra for 2 and played a Grim.
Yeah, it's Give of Runes, not Mother of Runes.
So it can't protect
with
itself.
Curse Scroll
yeah.
and Grim Lavamancer, you're gonna be able to get it eventually. And like, this is pretty nice because now this means for Fernando that if something were to happen to that first fairy, you can probably use Grim Lavamancer and Curse Scroll next turn to kill Chandra for good after it ticks up to 3 here. So I like the play.
Though I think Rex is going to have... he does have a couple answers. He can... I mean, Touch the Spirit Realm can get the Curse Scroll out of here. Or the Grim Lavamancer, I suppose.
There's only 2 cards in the yard. I would guess it's probably the Curse Scroll that needs to go first. But first we're going to 2+. We hit a land.
Goes to 9.
Not... The Upside Down Plains is starting to tilt me. That's fair, but...
Nah, it's his plans. He can do whatever he wants with it.
Well,
actually, it's Marshall's plans, as we established. But
I think also the lands in front of Spells Believers would argue that they've been
that's
stripped
worse.
of their liberties.
Yeah, that's true. Leonin Relic Warder on Meat Hook is actually a play. Like, you don't get hosed by the Meat Hook coming back or anything like that.
It seems a lot worse than dealing with this Curse Scroll somehow. So we're going to deal with the Bitter Blossom for a bit. That's
okay.
Pretty reasonable. But I don't know. Doesn't this just get beat up by Grim Lavamancer and Curse Scroll?
I mean, it's possible that Grim Lavamancer and Curse Scroll...
I guess you have Giver of Runes to protect the Leonin Relic Warder, but man, that's not really going to work for very long.
Well, so he doesn't make a token. He's got to use Curse Scroll first before playing his card.
I mean, I assume this turn is
kill Chandra.
Bitter Blossom and Curse Scroll kills Chandra.
Yeah, the 1/1 token.
Lavamancer is going to kill Giver of Runes at some point.
Yeah, it can be now or it can be later. I mean, Fernando is still in quite a bit of trouble, but like, it looked unwinnable 4 turns ago, and every turn it's gotten like a little bit more plausible that he could win. So he's going to Grim the Chandra, sure.
Yeah, the disadvantage of this is your Grim Lavamancer is tapped. The advantage of this is you don't have to show your opponent immediately what you drew with Curse Scroll. So that's probably better because it'll make it harder for Rex to sequence his turns if he doesn't know what's coming in a turn or two. Like, it's plausible Fernando has some card with just a Xander's Launch giving him non-black mana that he can't quite cast yet but will be quite good. Like, you figure if Fernando plays any land that's drawn there.
Yeah, with a DAC in hand, you might not play a swamp, but you would certainly play any red or blue land.
Yeah.
So Rex does get to attack for 4, draw a card end of turn off the Wedding Announcement, and then it flips. So like I still think Fernando's really
Wedding Announcement
or attack for 5, but I assume this opens the door to Curse Scrolling the Relic Warder actually. So you do have to target with Scroll. You don't have to name a card till you play it.
And you gain life?
Yeah. Oh, that's a Duretti. Duretti's pretty good. Now he kills the Relic Warder, so he takes 1 less damage. He gains a life. So he really only takes 2 damage here. Gets his Bitter Blossom back. No, this is. I don't know. We'll see. I still think the Wedding Announcement's probably gonna take Rex across the finish line here.
Because we also are probably gonna get to that Touch of the Spirit Realm, right? Taking out the Curse Scroll.
Yeah. The Curse Scroll does look better than
What's the other non-land card in Rex's hand? Can we tell?
Yeah, it's a Thraben Inspector.
Oh,
so he's gonna
play both of those.
He's gonna get to play both of those. He's gonna get to, I would assume, take out the Curse Scroll because the Grim Lavamancer doesn't have much fodder right now. Yeah. The one downside is that the DAC can fuel the Grim Lavamancer, but that's like multiple steps in the future, and you wouldn't even be able to use Grim the first turn. So I think that's gonna be tough. Oh, we're sacking the Clue. Okay.
That's...
Yeah?
I mean, the Curse Scroll could just kill one of our cards. That seems...
Well, it can't kill the Giver or the Thraben anymore because the Wedding Announcement's gonna flip it here.
But every bit helps, you know? This is a game that Rex is trying to just, like... He's like in the last 100 yards of a mile race or whatever, and he's just trying to get across the finish line, right? Like, he's got a lot of just junk on the board, so every bit is 1 bit closer to getting him those last 7 points.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what did Fernando draw for?
So he's
Used Curse Scroll. He took out one of the 2/2s.
Yeah, there could because of the wedding announcement. He can't kill the giver anymore, which is going to be I would say a long-term problem, but he doesn't maybe have that much time
the Bitter
left.
Blossom tokens help.
The meat hook helps too. He's gaining life off that thing. And
right. It should have gone up when he killed one of the vampires, right? He should have gone up to 8.
I wasn't keeping track of the life totals, to be honest.
He was at 7 a while ago, I thought.
Oh, is he going to now sack the Mox to kill the giver of runes and gain another life? Yep.
He lost that one life from Bitter Blossom.
Yeah,
Thank you, chat.
No, Fernando, as far as I can tell, he hasn't missed anything. Like I thought his plays have been quite good throughout this. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know Fernando. I've played against him in online, and I've been like, yeah, they're good.
He's playing this game extremely well.
Yeah.
So now, Rex drew a land. I mean, he's still got that touch. Oh, he's got Palace Jailer in hand. Well, Palace Jailer against Bitter Blossom is not the ideal.
Palace Jailer?
That's what he drew off of the wedding announcement at end of turn.
I see.
So he can't Palace Jailer and touch the Spirit Realm, but he can.
Well, he can. Can he play land and have the ability to touch his own Palace Jailer?
Yeah, that is going to be a potentially backbreaking play, I will say. So the fact that wedding announcement makes the 1/2s into 2/3s and the 2/2s into 3/3s is pretty bad for Fernando's 2-damage tribal deck here. But Palace Jailer on Grim Lavamancer is certainly a start.
So you hit the Lavamancer? Oh,
I'm so tempted to hit a fairy in general because you're going to lose the Monarch in a second here, I would imagine. Though.
Also, if the jailer ever dies, you actually get back the Lavamancer.
Yeah,
if you take a fairy, it doesn't come back.
Yeah, that's like the biggest upside.
Fernando's deciding if he needs to chump. So if Fernando chumps here, it now means Touch of the Spirit Realm. Touch of the Spirit Realm also has the mode 2 mana kill a token.
Okay, so
at instant speed.
So it looks like Doretti got attacked by both, and Fernando just couldn't save it, so it all just died. So now he has 2 tokens. So the question is going to be: is he attack with both tokens to play around something like a removal spell? I imagine he would like to.
With how dialed in Fernando has been, I would think it's pretty possible that he knows that Rex has Touch of the Spirit Realm. Rex has probably been doing things like looking at certain cards, and I would guess Fernando's dialed in and has figured out that Touch of the Spirit Realm is one of them. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Like, you only are attacking with 2 here if you figured out what your opponent has, and I'm sure Fernando studied the deck pools and knows which cards to be looking for, and has now dialed into knowing. Yeah, it's Touch of the Spirit Realm in Rex's hand.
All right, so there goes Grim Lavamancer. It's back. This Curse Scroll's been just working here. Kill the token, gain a life, and that's an Abrade.
Oh wow.
Okay, so Abrade now could be a disaster for Fernando if he plays into Touch the Spirit Realm. But
he's just gonna chump with the Bitter Blossom
because he also gets the card end of turn off Monarch. No, he Abraded it.
But,
that's a tough one.
Okay.
I think that's game. I think unless Rex
that's
top decks
tough to come back from.
Fernando is in really good shape. Hellrider was quite the draw. But Hellrider, let's see. Hellrider attack, ping you down to 7, attack with a 4/4 and a 2/3. Fernando chumps the Hellrider and takes 2 is likely, though he's got the Monarch, so maybe he double chumps. Yeah, I think with it's tough, but
double chump, I would guess you're just single chumping
and then just giving up the Monarch because you can just take it back, I guess. Yeah, Grim Lavamancer plus Curse Scroll killing Hellrider next turn has got to be such a appealing play.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So he takes 2 down to 5. He has the Monarch now. And then plays a Smuggler's Copter. All right. Draws off Monarch. Fernando goes to 4 now off Bitter Blossom. Wow, this has been quite the game. Wow. And let's see. Oh, that's a pyrokinesis? Oh man, that's a lot worse with a wedding announcement in play, I will say that. Still potentially pretty strong. So he gets the Monarch. You know what Fernando really wants to draw is a red card. If he draws a red card this turn, he gets to use Curse Scroll and Grim Lavamancer. Though, he doesn't have enough red. He couldn't, even with Phyrexian Tower, he can't use Grim and the other. All right, it's a big draw. Is that a red card? I couldn't tell what that was.
It was very fast.
So he's drawing with the Monarch, so he might end of turn want to kill. So what happens if you just straight up Pyrokinesis the Hellrider? Is that, I don't even know if that's better than using Grim anyway. Grim plus Scroll. Though I guess Scroll's now a 50-50. Yeah, it looks like...
I see, because you didn't do it before.
No, which I think you do. I think you just drew anyway. It's fine. Unexpectedly absent. All right, well, never mind. Hellrider was the draw Rex needed. I actually think he's now back in the driver's seat here. But we've been surprised plenty this game. There's a lot of game left, I would imagine. Flame Slash on the Grim Lavamancer. Oh no, Flame Slash on a flying token. Okay, and then ping for 1.
I mean, I think that's a good play because the Grim Lavamancer is probably getting tapped here before attacks, and so you're getting rid of an actual blocker. Yeah.
Unexpectedly absent the other token. No triggers that way.
This is very good stuff by Rex.
This actually looks like game. Because now... Oh, he had another play too. Now he plays the Touch the Spirit Realm here. I mean, getting to play 3 removal spells this turn was pretty good.
Now Rex is forcing Fernando to commit to using Grim Lavamancer, and so if Grim Lavamancer plus Curse Scroll goes after anything, that creature gets used to crew the Copter.
Yeah. But even without that, just the Copter alone is lethal. Like, even if he... Because he's forced to kill the Hellrider... Like, even if he didn't run that play. But this was the right sequencing. So I think
Hellrider and Smuggler's Copter are both by themselves lethal.
Yeah. All right. Curse Scroll is actually going to be a 50-50 Curse Scroll. I like it. That's pretty fun. You don't see that quite as often. Well, Fernando's...
Oh, the dice was off camera. We don't know.
That's probably not the card he named either. Unless it... Oh, no. It looks like it was.
It was. I mean, at this point, Rex just has to fire up Smuggler's Copter, even if he doesn't do it.
Unless Fernando drew a... No, he gains a life. He goes to 5. Oh, did he crew it?
And Rex did not crew in response.
Okay, so now he's going to sack it to Tower. Wait, I think he drew a Robber of the Rich. Did he? I couldn't tell. Because if he drew a red card, we're still cooking here. I mean... Fernando's going to die on upkeep to the Bitter Blossom, unless he can kill something on upkeep.
Oh, that's funny.
Which he actually could kill something. Oh, he drew a red card. This is so sick. He drew Robber.
This is unbelievable.
And because of the way Pyrokinesis works, he actually had to fade the 50-50 to Curse Scroll first. You can't Curse Scroll with no cards in hand. Oh my god. And Fernando still has the Monarch. This is an incredible game by Fernando.
Jeez.
I mean...
Wow.
This is an incredible game on both sides, to be honest. So,
Rex, does Rex have anything left?
Fernando just faded 3 removal spells in the same turn. He's able to fight his way through that.
Against a pretty wide board with a Glorious Anthem out. Jeez. Oof.
This is some impressive stuff. All right,
Faden. Here's the Dak Faden. Yeah, doesn't have any artifacts to steal.
No Smuggler's Copters, unfortunately. All right.
Drew Glorybringer and another red card.
Discard Ophiomancer.
Oh, maybe it wasn't another red card.
And Porcelain Legionnaire.
So is it just the Glorybringer in hand?
Yeah. Now he's going to pass the turn, no attacks, because he just wants to not lose the Monarch.
Do we have Curse Scroll mana?
Does Rex draw a deal 4? No, he drew an Inspiring Vantage. Oh, 2 lands in hand.
I mean, I guess Rex should attack. You're attacking a 2/3 into 2 1/1s.
Sure, yeah. No downside. Just going to chump. Rex takes 1 off the Meat Hook. This Meat Hook has been unbelievable. It's gained Fernando, 10 life or something like that? Okay, Fernando goes to 4 here. But he's firmly in control of the game.
Mayhem Devil, that's going to help close things out.
I mean, really, this Glorybringer killing the Thraben and gaining a life is going to look sick. So discards Spire Bluff and Swamp and goes Urza Saga. Do you Glorybringer? Pretty hard to resist Glorybringering, especially since you actually have Curse Scroll up afterwards.
That's pretty sick. I would do that.
And I think I would attack with the token that can attack as well.
Sure.
And then exert, boom. Who signed the Glorybringer? I wonder who that was. Who's played a bunch of Glorybringers? Could be Reed, but he probably signed a Jund
Did
card.
Javier win his tournament?
Oh, Huey. Huey won has won a lot with Glorybringer.
Maybe it was Huey.
Yeah, no, that's what someone said. It was Huey. Oh, I think that's game. I think that's actual game. It's like the 5th time I've called that, so there's that. But I think that actually.
Fernando didn't sack a Bitter Blossom to use with Curse Scroll.
Yeah, he had 2 cards in hand, so maybe he thought it was 50-50, or he didn't want the 50-50. But so he attacks. He can attack for 2. Go to 5. Mayhem Devil. I guess. Wow, I just once again said game when it's not literally game, but I think this is looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, Rex could drop deck a burn spell somehow, because Phyrexian Tower does 1, Curse Scroll does 1. Phyrexian, because it does one by sacking the token for the meat hook, and then the Mayhem does another one. That's still not quite there.
I gotta say, this watching Rex win this match was a real pleasure.
Fernando?
Yes, Fernando. Sorry.
Yeah. No, Fernando really utilized his cards effectively here. Like he was just losing every I don't know how many turns this game has been, 12 or something.
Yeah.
But I feel like he was losing or like 10. He's been losing like 95% of the game. Does he have lethal with Curse Scroll here? I guess I didn't really. He's going to name Mountain and boom. There we go.
Is there a better way to win a match of Magic than naming basic Mountain with Curse Scroll?
Mountain, yes. Oh, Fernando's got to be just like his heart rate's got to be insane because they're playing in the finals for so much.
Yeah. Hey Reed. Hey Marshall.
Incredible.
Should we cut to us?
Yeah, we'll cut to us. Let's go. What a game, huh?
Was that fun?
That was fun.
I had a good time.
I mean, if you're Fernando, you feel like fading turn 1, or I guess it was turn 3 Lotus, but like fading an early Black Lotus twice you got to feel pretty good about that.
I've done that. You've done that. It is one of the better feelings in Vintage Cube. And it's one of the best arguments for why Vintage Cube is a great format is it is both really sweet to have power cards, but when you get to be on the side of the 30% or whatever, or versus a good piece of the power 9 and win, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we've got the finals coming up soon. Let's see what comes up next. Oh, looks like this is
game three of the other semi.
I love this.
I bet they held this, which is
good.
absolutely the right way to run this. This has been a first class production all around.
Oh, totally. Oh, Library in the opener for Chris here. I gotta say, I'm unabashedly rooting for Chris. When he just slammed Survival, slammed Channel, slammed Emrakul, and just... He also looked like the guy who was having the most fun in the draft, though undoubtedly Luca was having the most actual fun in the draft. Oh, I gotta move the screen.
You guys want to watch the Magic?
Or you want to watch us talk about Magic?
You want to see the game through our eyes.
Yeah. All right, well, this is going to be a fight. Strip Mine. That makes it less of a fight.
Why wouldn't Luca have Strip Mine?
Wow, from this angle, Chris also looks a lot like the dude, the comedian that
Which one?
The one that did an interview with Trump a couple weeks ago.
Theo Von?
Theo Von, yeah.
Theo Von's hilarious.
In any case, Library into Once Upon a Time for Sylvan Caryatid. I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. And... Oh, this is tough. Do you strip mine the Utopia Sprawled land or the Library? I mean, I imagine it's just the land with Utopia Sprawl on it.
That's funny. I haven't
that
had
was
this decision.
Oracle Moldai, not Caryatid. Sorry.
Got it.
I mean, do you get the 2-for-1 now or the card that draws them an extra card every turn?
It really would depend on my hand.
Yeah,
I needed to see the deck pool.
How fast are you closing out the game?
That you would make the same way with all decks against all decks.
Yeah. I guess basically the more turns you think you're going to take, he probably has to kill the library, actually, just thinking about it for 5 seconds. Like, if he kills the Utopia Sprawled Land and then the game lasts 7 more turns, the library is going to just outpace it so badly.
I think you're definitely right about that. That there would be exceptions. You could have hands, but the default in this situation should be to kill library.
Well,
it's the same reason why ram spells have gotten less good in Magic, because it's just like when you could spend all of your mana on cheap things every turn, you should just stop your opponent from having cards. The extra mana isn't the most important thing.
One thing that was kind of unfortunate for a Luca here is it would have been sick if he ancestraled into a Scarab God to discard the hand size, because he's going to have to discard this turn. Actually, no matter what he does, he just can't play enough cards to not, in which case he'd be able to reanimate it. But he has a really tough decision. Do you set him back 2 mana, or do you take the library? Chris might have a good play. All right, next turn. So he takes out the library, which unclear whether Chris is... happy or sad about that. So Luca does have to discard a card. Just going to discard, looks like an island here. All right, we're going to see a big move. Chris's deck is capable of some really big ones. All right, there's show and tell. Love it.
Come on.
And
let's feel something.
You can't put Planeswalkers in with show and tell. So that Luca has to just put a land into play.
Eureka is every permanent type.
Oh, it's Kozilek. It's not Emrakul. Swords to Plowshares answers Kozilek pretty cleanly.
But if you're Luca, you have to consider a really funny question. If you have a swamp in your hand and the Toxic Deluge, which he does, you can either have Chris gain 10 life, or you could lose 12 life.
Well, 12 in each case.
12 both ways. And he's going to have Chris gain 12 life.
I think that's not surprising. And then gets to untap and have Remand up, but really only lands. And the unfortunate part about Kozilek is even if he deluged it, he wouldn't be able to reanimate it for multiple reasons, because it would shuffle back in and all that. All right, here comes the Oracle. Love Oracle of Moldai. One of my favorite cards that's no longer good enough for a current vintage cube, unfortunately. Though in this cube, it's a great fit. Remand, sure. One of the cool things about Yavimaya in live play is when you're Luca, you don't have to deal with the annoyance of tapping your swamp for black instead of green.
Yeah. Someone in chat asked me to explain what I meant by that with ramp spells not being as good. That's part of why you want to just kill the library. And what I mean by that is that when the best cards in the cube cost 2 and 3 mana, you want to kill the card Library of Alexandria, which just draws you a bunch of them, not the card which lets you have 4 or 5 mana. There are good 4 and 5 drops, but the 2 and 3 drops are just as scary.
Yeah.
So just kill the library. A great example of a very cheap card that's very scary.
I mean, think about it. Oh, he's going to get deluged right out here.
Oh, it's bad for him.
No, this looks really... Luca looks like he's in firm control of the game. In fact, he's got the funny play. No, what he can do with end of turn Wandering Emperor, make a Samurai, untap, +1/+1 counter, deluge for 2. You could even get cheeky and attack first. But
this was always the worst thing for Chris, by the way, and was the case with Sylvan Caryatid too, seeing mana creatures on top of your deck with an Oracle or a Caryatid-like effect. You can't get past it. It doesn't give you mana immediately. Oh, Luca is deciding to set the trap in a big way. He sees the Birds of Paradise on top, and he's going to risk it.
Who's +1ing the
this is the end of turn Wandering Emperor. I see. Yeah, you +1 here because you know you're going to deluge for 2. I guess you could minus then plus.
That's what I wanted to do is minus and then plus. I don't. Think
is that what he did?
I don't think he made it. He didn't make a Samurai, no. Against Oracle, you don't really want to wait, even with the birds on top, I don't think. And but now that you've committed to playing Wandering Emperor, you don't want it getting attacked either. So Deluge for 2, wipes out those.
Plus then minus is just a strictly worse version, right?
Yeah, you end up with a 2/2 instead of a 3/3, and you don't deal a point of damage, I guess, with the same loyalty at the end. Oh, is he going to reanimate the Oracle? I love that play. Yes.
Great play.
He's getting the Hex Drinker. Oh man,
I don't mind it.
No, it's still very good.
Because here's the thing.
He gets to put a +1/+1 counter on it, or he's going to make a...
I'm going to give Luca credit. I haven't studied Chris's deck list in a minute, but it is very in the range that you could be playing against a green deck and you look at their deck list and it's like, if a Hex Drinker gets into play and is big,
Yeah,
your deck doesn't really function.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm just looking. Oh, man, 3 more mana things, a Signet and two mana dorks. We're all in. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. Unfortunately, not enough to cast the real heavy hitters in the deck. So
yeah, Chris is tapped out, and I believe Luca has the Scarab God in hand, has a copy of Skyclave Apparition, has a Planeswalker, has a Hex Drinker they can be leveling up.
That's not going to do much, but it could. If Chris ever doesn't play a card, it could be like an Emrakul, and getting to Sculler that before he draws like a channel at 32 life sounds pretty good.
So the basic hard decision, the big fork in the road moment, it looks to me like for Luca, is you could play the Scarab God with the intent that you're going to be able to bring back Oracle next turn, or you could spink your mana into pumping up Hex Drinker and ride that Hex Drinker to glory. And I think if I were them, I would go for the Scarab God play, because I would just want to... I have such powerful cards in my deck like Time Walk that I just want to get to them in Ancestral, and having an Oracle in play is going to help you a lot with that.
Yeah, I agree. Makes another Samurai. Chris basically can't win at this point, I don't think. Like... I don't think he's like got a 1 card.
Well, it just got a lot harder because Luca top decked Mystic Confluence, which is going to be well concealed by the Scarab God's activated ability.
Yeah. So it's a 3/2 first striking Hex Drinker, 2 2/2s, and a Scarab God coming in for 12, and it's gonna put Chris into a pretty bad spot. That's another forest. Oh, man, I really wanted to see Chris's deck do its thing. I guess it did. It did play it did show and tell out a turn 3 Kozilek. Just so happened that was not quite enough this particular game.
Yeah, this was a bad matchup. You had Toxic Deluge, Swords to Plowshare, and Spellseeker looking for Swords to Plowshares to contend with for that sneak show and tell plan.
Yeah. So Island here gets to scry that to the bottom because he's got a zombie in play if that's what he wants. I imagine he will just put it on the bottom. Nope, no, he's just taking it. It's fine. Island, get to play that. Nice. Colonnade, get to play that. You got an Oracle. Yeah, no, this game's over. And unlike the last match, I believe that is a little bit more accurate.
You think the Jacobovitz is going to close this one?
I think so.
I'm really excited for getting to see the Luca versus Fernando match.
Finals? Yeah, that's going to be sick. Yeah, Chris could draw Portal, but that wouldn't even do it. It wouldn't even come close to doing it, honestly. Because
the Scarab God would go back to hand.
No, he would just sack 2 Samurais and like a Hex Drinker, and then just raise dead any creature he wants with Scarab God, so the Portal doesn't have any targets. Like, that would be an easy way to do it, too.
Yeah, Hex Drinker is a pretty nice one to bring back with the Scarab God.
Not to mention the fact that Luca also has a Mystic Confluence in hand.
It is very sick when you counter a card with like a double mana leak. It's really mean business.
He's at 1. What's he gonna draw?
He's at 1, so he's also... Chris is just dead to outside of combat to just the Scarab God ability.
Yeah. Scavenging Ooze? No, that's not gonna do it, unfortunately. And boom. All right. Well, I mean, we did say that Luca had what looked like the best deck after the draft and after seeing deck lists, and he's now in the finals against the other deck that we liked a lot, which is Fernando's deck. So pretty good stuff. We'll of course be back with the finals momentarily here, but wow, it's been some good action so far.
Really exciting stuff. I mean, we're getting to see a lot of iconic Magic cards do their thing, some of which we haven't seen in action for a couple of years now, but they're coming back to the Cube for this version of the Vintage Cube that does really a nice job of capturing more of Magic history and Vintage Cube history. 30th anniversary of Magic. It's a good time. We got Kai Booty playing in the top 8 of the World Championships. And then next year we're going to have SpongeBob SquarePants joining Magic the Gathering. So we're really,
you could say it's just so covering up us.
You could feel the past, present, and future of Magic all colliding this weekend.
Exactly. Boom. All right.
Are we going?
Yeah, we are into the finals here. Grixis Sacrifice, really red-black sack with like a Dak Faden or whatever, and a Fire Ice against the Esper Power 9 deck, as we've been calling it. But doesn't look like Luca's got the Spellseeker or the Ancestral or Time Walk yet, so, maybe we can fade those. We'll see what Fernando can do. Part of the problem that's tough is that Fernando is playing somewhat of like a mid-rangey value deck, trying to, grind things out, as we saw in his last two matches. It's pretty hard to do that against someone who's got Ancestral, Snapcaster, Spellseeker, not to mention the Time Walk. Yeah, and Edgar has a great point that this archetype wasn't really in the Magic Online cube these players used to qualify, and so Fernando here kind of drafted it on the fly, is exactly what he said, which is true, because he probably didn't get a ton of practice with this list of the cube, and that's going to make drafting an offbeat archetype even harder.
I would be curious to ask the competitors, because they did have this list for a while, and there are like websites that you can use that can allow you to draft
such as Draftmancer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Porcelain Legionnaire coming in. Oh, so Luca has Remand, can't cast this Wandering Emperor, doesn't have two white. Vendetta is going to kill the Legionnaire, and Luca's only going to lose one life for it. It's not even a bad deal. And
Vendetta's a card I've never played with in the cube. What do you think? How far off is it?
The problem is it costing 1 mana is not enough to make up for the fact that it can't kill black creatures, and the life loss can sometimes be like 5. So like compare it to like Infernal Grasp. Like Infernal Grasp I think is generally just going to be a better card than Vendetta. And currently Infernal Grasp not even in my cube because put in a couple other removal spells like Feed the Pack and the one from Bloomburrow.
Feed the Swarm, yeah.
No, Feed the Swarm is the one that kills an enchantment or...
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Whatever it's called.
the Forage Hero's Downfall.
Yeah.
So Fernando got an Urza Saga, which, if you looked at Luca's hand, we're talking about cards like Hostage Taker, Swords to Plowshares, Remand. Really lines up nicely against those cards. The Hostage Taker can kill the Golem, the construct for free, but just getting a 3-for-1 potentially off a card is exactly what Fernando needs right now against Luca's heavy interaction.
Yeah. Especially if he hasn't run the mocks, because I don't think he has Curse Scroll. That's the other thing to get. Curse Scroll, we saw it do some work in round 2. Tell you what.
Ooh, that sounds lovely.
All right. So, Spire Bluff pass with Saga up. And Luca did find that Plains, though, so he can play this Wandering Emperor. He's got Hostage Taker. Is that a Deluge in hand as well? So, Luca's got some good answers, and it's just a ticking time bomb. It's one of the reasons it's just so demoralizing to play against a deck like Luca's. This game's going to go for a while. It's just really likely he just draws one of his really powerful blue cards, So, let's see what Luca is thinking here. Do you play the Wandering Emperor? This is always tricky with Wandering Emperor. Do you play it on a board where you don't get to use the -2? Because the -2 is the one that you can't really use that effectively after the first turn it comes down, usually.
Right. Opponents will just not attack with their creatures.
Or they'll attack and kill the Wandering Emperor.
Hey, there's Martin.
Yep. The Juzam Jin himself.
Fun fact, I won a Team Grand Prix with Martin.
Nice. Fun fact, me and Chian beat Martin and Arnos Zedek in the top 4 of a Kobe beef tournament where we were playing for a Kobe beef dinner. It's true.
All right.
100% true. That I would even say that's more of a fun fact.
It's definitely more fun.
Yeah. Though, I don't know. Do you think you guys had more fun winning the GP than me and Chian did having the, $300 Kobe beef dinner when we were broke college students?
It was very fun to win, but team tournaments are very stressful.
Yeah, they definitely are.
You really don't want to let your teammates down. You care, if you're a good person, you care so much more than you do in an individual one, but yeah. I don't know.
Oh, also, Everbrook has a great point. Juzo was not the famous person on his team. It was, at this point, Arnos Zedek had just top 8 at a Pro Tour London. So it was like Arnos and his random Czech friend is with the red pants. He also
There's a lot of Magic players who have started off as someone's random friend. You were Paul Cheon's random friend at one point.
the Cheontourage. that's what BDM coined it.
You were the Cheontourage?
I was a member of the Cheontourage.
Who else? Was it Ochoa?
Ochoa and Irick, you know,
Sure.
just all the pals from Northern California. All right. Well, these constructs are really getting in there. And so now Luca is going to play this. Oh, he's going to take it. He does not want to tap out here. So he's going to take 4. It's not like the end of the world. And presumably end of turn the Wandering Emperor. Maybe he didn't want to expose it. Okay, here it goes. Fernando does not have a lot in the way of disruption. But, is he going to...
I'm a little surprised this is coming out.
Oh, he's going to deluge. He's going to he's going to run the +1 then deluge plan.
Okay. Are you actually even going to be able to minus though? I guess you survived the curse scroll.
Yeah, it goes down to 3. So deluge X equals 4.
Fernando does have a fire ice in hand,
which isn't quite right it isn't lined up quite right to kill the Wandering Emperor, unfortunately. Though it can in combination with Curse Scroll, but it's unfortunate for Fernando. He would like to be able to.
We're not actually at the stage of the game where Curse Scroll is just a free roll either.
True. +1 on the Wandering Emperor against that Curse Scroll. He's maybe thinking, you know.
All right.
Oh, ice the Celestial Colonnade end of turn. Cut off any potential interaction.
I mean, Luca does have a Swords to Plowshares that's not going to be able to be played.
But I don't think, unless Fernando has Glorybringer, he doesn't have a lot of hasters, though Zealous Conscripts would be a fun one. Oh, Thundermaw!
Thundermaw! Hellkite 5 damage!
I think Gabby probably fell asleep by now, but if not, Thundermaw is one of her favorite cards.
You think about all those small puny ass 4/4 flying haste dragons people play. Would that have killed the Wandering Emperor?
No, this is like in a Game of Thrones when the big dragon ate the little dragon. I don't remember the names anymore.
Yeah.
Also, Luca, by the way, could have left white up. I don't think he thought about the fire ice because you usually wouldn't. So he left Colonnade Jet as to keep the whole spread and keep all the cards up. So yeah, there we go. So Hostage Taker on Thundermaw is not the answer you necessarily want, because if it survives the window and you recast it, of course it's busted, but it does get that hit in. So now I think Swords to Plowshares is going to hit, but Fernando's on the little double dragon plan. The question is, do you want to play this Glorybringer without a target? It's usually pretty rough to do that. No, Mac Bozer, not worried about waking Gabby up. We're sufficiently distant at this point.
I have some breaking news. Matt Nass won, so he's going to be 1 seed in the 100K in the top 8.
You love to hear it. Just Matt Nass, Kai, Seth, they're all having big weekends. As are both of these players. They've got to be so happy right now. I mean, that said, the whoever loses this match is still going to feel bad about losing, because it is tough, but losing in the finals of anything, even if you were winning a ton, still feels generally pretty bad, I can say. But end of the weekend, you still are very quite happy with how it turned out. All right,
we're having a big weekend too. We went to Costco today.
Oh yeah, we did. Had some good samples. I got some egg bites.
Oh, maybe we're ending up on the weekend.
So is Luca though. He's dominating this game despite the Thundermaw play. Mystic Confluence, counter Glorybringer, draw 2 cards. Do you want to gain 5 life or do you want to deal 1 damage to your opponent? That's the real question. There's a Goblin Bombardment in play.
I mean, Luca's at 11. Fernando's thinking about it.
Yeah, he pinks. That's great play. He's got that's got to be right though. Goblin Bombardment Curse Scroll I think is his path to victory at this point. Obvious, and he's got a Bone Crusher in hand too, so he's kind of got a lot of burn. The problem is Luca's going to get to go Hostage Taker, snag that scroll, play it immediately. That, I think, is going to really...
Can't sack that to Goblin Bombardment.
No, that's going to really put Fernando in a tough spot here. So, Luca on Celestial Colonnade? Attack for 4? No, probably not going to happen here, is my guess. He's got some options. He's also got to reanimate. He could reanimate one of those dragons, though that's clearly not that appealing of a play. Though, maybe we're getting in. Going to 5 is pretty dicey. He's also has a Cathar Commando that can kill the bombardment or the scroll. I'd be really tempted to Hostage Taker.
That's where I'm at.
But we'll see. It looks like Reanimate's getting cast. On the Porcelain Legionnaire? No, the Glorybringer. Ooh.
Why that one?
maybe threaten to kill whatever comes next, I suppose. And
this has to be followed up by the hostage taker play, right?
I would assume so. Oh. You know what? It's possible Luca doesn't know it can hit artifacts. That's not a typical line on cards such as that. And we have yet to see hostage taker killing an artifact so far, or targeting an artifact. Going to 5 against a board of Curse Scroll, Goblin Bombardment with a Bone Crusher in the opponent's hand is pretty dicey. Because I don't know what other instant Luca has in hand that would not want to do that. He does have a Colonnade kind of hiding under those swamps there. So he's not that worried about like a Haster, for example. But I think if I'm Fernando here, besides, lamenting the fact that my opponent has Time Walk and Ancestral, I would be thinking about that at all times. you know me. But I do know you. I would be looking to try to empty my hand and Curse Scroll out of here. All right, looking at the game text of Restoration Angel. Oh, Resto can blink and untap a Glorybringer, and you do keep it. Resto puts it back into play under your control. It's kind of an odd
one of the
card.
rare ones that does that. They now almost always say owner's control.
Yeah. Luca could also have, Snapcaster for Swords to Plowshares is definitely something you got to think about. Fernando, I think, has Blood Chief's Thirst in hand. Yeah, so he's thinking of whether he wants to Blood Chief's Thirst the Glorybringer and get blown out potentially by Resto. The problem is he does have to empty his hand. Like, in order to get this Curse Scroll to work, he's going to have to do that. So it looks like he's just going to go Ophiomancer. And maybe pass the turn and take the 50-50 on Scroll, or maybe just fire off the Bone Crusher at some point here.
But do you know what the other card is besides Blood Chief's Thirst?
It's Bone Crusher. That got remanded, so Luca also knows about it.
I see.
And Ophiomancer with Goblin Bombardment, that's also a shock.
Did Luca not Swords end of turn? Are we killing Bombardment now?
I think he's going to kill Bombardment in response, and that's pretty tough for...
But now we're just letting this Curse Scroll live?
Presumably. At this point, though, you can't cav Resto. I think I'd be pretty tempted to just to Blood Chief's Thirst, and it looks like it's going to be Snapcaster Swords Your Own Dragon. Might have been the kind of the play Luca wanted to make, or maybe he's just good with that. All right, he's going to untap. He's going to get a Snake. All right, so Hostage Taker probably taking Ophiomancer is now going to be the play. I think Bone Crusher or Curse Scroll still wins that race pretty easily.
Right, it only takes 2 turns. Next turn, you Bone Crusher and Curse Scroll, and that gets Luca down to 1. Then you untap and do it again.
Oh, he got the scroll, so he was ready for that. I guess he just wanted to leave mana out for his other stuff. He didn't think that scroll would be too big of an issue.
So now is Luca gonna Swords the?
No, he's used the Swords already.
Oh, the Swords is gone.
Yeah.
What's in his hand?
His last card. I don't know what his last card is.
I mean, he's only taking 1 point from the Snake. Then he can.
He knows about Bone Crusher though,
and then
he could also just Curse
Crusher
Scroll.
Face.
He could Curse Scroll the Ophiomancer here too. He could also just block the Snake. Like if you're planning on Curse Scrolling the Ophiomancer with this Mana Vault, then blocking the Snake and going and not taking extra damage sounds pretty good. This is going to be a close game.
You said you know about the Bone Crusher?
Yeah, it got remanded earlier.
I guess the Bone Crusher you can use Colonnade to deal with.
Yeah, Fernando is going to have a problem against this Curse Scroll as the game goes on. Not that many of his cards survive it. Okay, so this is a big decision. Do you trade? All right. I mean, Fernando's fine with that. And now you don't really have a play other than shock you, play Bone Crusher. And I think Fernando just drew a land to go with that.
This is a good game.
Yeah,
it's nice
definitely.
We're getting a good game.
No, this is a great game.
In the finals.
Curse Scroll targeting Ophiomancer. Naming Shark Typhoon. Sharky T? Okay, so now do you untap the Mana Vault is kind of the question here. What is your plan? If you untap Mana Vault, you could still make a decently sized shark to trade with the Bone Crusher. And you avoid taking a point of damage. So if you do that, you make a 4/4 shark. So it doesn't
beat... A land lets you make a 5/5.
And a land lets you make a 5/5. Despite my love for untapping
Wall of Omens is a funny draw.
I mean, it blocks the Bone Crusher for a turn, but you lose to any removal spell. You still
You don't lose.
No,
to a removal
you don't
spell.
actually. The Wall of Omens makes things a little safer, so you probably want to do it because it also.
If you draw a land, you could just still make a 3/3 shark, and you probably would.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Wall of Omens, in order to
This was a tough tap job on Mana Vault because you could have left up the ability to activate Colonnade, but I guess with Shark Typhoon,
Yeah, you're just not going to do that. So, I like the Wall of Omens play. I think that just making it so you don't lose to just a removal spell is pretty nice. And if you drew a land, it's not too bad.
Oh, it's very good to draw land.
Pretty good to draw an Ancestral too. All right, there we go.
That would be nice.
All right, there's got some good outs here. Oh, Polluted Delta is not going to do it. You kind of got to save that one for Mayhem Devil as well.
So you chump or you threw? I think you threw through Shark and trade.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do next turn?
I mean, if you
don't
wait,
do
you can
this,
make like a gigantic shark and hope
And
it
then
doesn't.
just lose to a removal spell?
I mean, Fernando probably doesn't have that many removal spells that can instant speed kill like a. What is it? What is it
It
going to?
doesn't need to have many for this for that to be the wrong way to play it, is my guess.
Maybe a 9/9 shark.
Maybe I'm overrating how much inevitability I think Luca has with a Colonnade and a Curse Scroll.
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt he's going to hardcast Shark Typhoon unless he drew a spell. Oh, so that's a Scarab God. Well, he drew a spell. Scarab God, get back Glorybringer. Oof.
I'm a fan.
Fernando's not. He's not loving it. And the question is, do you just get back Glorybringer right away and attack and kill the Bone Crusher? I'd be pretty tempted to just try and do that. Looks like he's going to. All right, exiles. Exerts. All right, does Fernando have any cards that just win from this spot? I don't know that he does. He has one turn to draw it. Oh, all lands. All right. That was a tough game one. I mean, that was close. It was a really close game.
And we successfully returned the Curse Scroll to Fernando's deck.
Players have been on top of it.
Yeah. Marshall, long day of commentary is like, oh, I'm here.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Well, here's the thing: we don't have the luxury of because we got the camera on. There is an element in when you're in the booth for like Marshall and Rita. When it cuts to the match, you're no longer on camera, so then you just get to kind of chill. You get to kind of let your guard down, relax a little bit. That is how you end up with things like Ben S trying to eat a bowl of Chipotle while they're live on a broadcast, which is another example of Ben maybe not fitting into a work environment, seamlessly as you might want. But I do think that if you
Should we
haven't
cut back to us and over here, it's only fair, right?
No,
No, we stay focused.
They're dressed too sharply. We got to respect that. I think that one of the things, if you haven't been in like a broadcast or camera situation, it just feels very different when you know you're on camera versus not. It's a long-winded way of saying I like to pick my nose when I'm not on camera, but as Fonzie said, some would say that co-streaming is significantly harder than commentary. Sure, I'm sure some would.
Yeah, I have to anticipate what Marshall's saying and provide an extra layer on top of it. I assume most people are watching this with both sound streams on at the same time to get the maximum Magic analysis.
Yeah. And I'm still obsessed with this trophy shot. What are we seeing here? Nothing really too good, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's not often the trophy is the least exciting prize.
That's true.
Wasn't taking super long, I would sometimes root for it to be to go the distance.
Yeah. All right, Fernando on the play here for game 2. It's a big match. The winner here gets to that's a lot of lands. Deluge, Wall of Omens, 5 lands. That's kind of a nice 2 cards to go with your 5 lands.
By making the finals, both players are guaranteed themselves an additional piece of power.
Didn't like it. He was off it.
Well, oh, really?
I think it was Deluge, Wall of Omens, 5 lands. I could have been wrong though. Not a totally unreasonable hand to mulligan if that's what it was, but Some may claim that keeping Deluge Wall 5 lands is a Luis keep, but I think you should keep that hand. Is it a Luis keep in the sense that Luis is good at Magic and says you should keep it? Who knows? Unlike some people, I don't like to mulligan. There's some people I know who just love mulliganing. It's just their favorite thing.
I've never accused you of liking mulliganing.
No. Fernando has Urza Saga in his hand, and that I think is actually one of the best cards in his deck. Just in this matchup, it's just extremely powerful.
I assume the Zoomers are better. Some of the Zoomers are better at mulliganing than us. They aren't anchored to back when mulligans were so punishing.
It's true. The young mackerel loves to mulligan.
So much.
All right, so this is a hand without blue, but it looks pretty keepable. Looks like Plains, Swamp, if I'm reading that correctly, along with Winds of Abandon, Hostage Taker, and I think a Skyclave Apparition. Maybe you could put your 4th land back, like your 2nd Swamp or something like that. Wouldn't be crazy to put Winds of Abandon back. You have 2 other removal in hand, and that's not one you want to cast particularly early. Crazy. I don't like Winds of Abandon. It's like mulliganing. It's like you mulligan.
Yeah, but why do you need so many lands with your hand? So you can cast Hostage Taker?
Well, I don't think that land provides blue, but I'm not sure.
Oh, that does change things.
Oh, he just put the Hostage Taker back. All right. Drawing Swords to Plowshares here. And
Urza Saga seems like a really good card against Luca.
Really is. Cathar Commando, one of his good ways to stop that, but not on deck right now. All right, there goes a Saga, and he's got a play too. Oh, Roberto, Robber of the Rich. Gonna get Swords most likely.
It seems better than Winds of Abandoning it, or just saying I'm not going to interact with it till I Skyclave it.
Oh, so the Swords was a good draw for Luca.
It is awkward because you'd rather, if you could line things up perfectly, you'd rather Swords the constructs and Skyclave the Robber because you can't Skyclave the constructs.
Indeed.
But you can Skyclave the artifact that Urza Saga gets. That'll help some, and then maybe you'll be able to Deluge someday.
Skyclaving a Mox gets you nothing back. Skyclaving a Curse Scroll doesn't get a whole lot back. And Fernando deciding which land to play.
Is that Cathar Commando?
He's got Resto. That's the one card I couldn't identify. He didn't have a 4th land. He had a Resto. Yeah, putting back the Hostage Taker was clear. Yes, that is a Cathar Commando. Interesting. So now he gets to go Cathar Commando, just blow up Saga. Seems pretty good. Like, he gets a 1/1 out of the deal, but that's just not that bad. So the one thing that Luca has... Oh, okay. I guess he can just do the thing now. It doesn't change much.
Yeah, this beats removal.
Yeah, and I think technically you would want to pass and let him make the token. But
if you did it against a blue-black deck, this would be pretty bad because they might just do something like flash in their Malcolm or their Fairy Mastermind that they wouldn't have done otherwise. Against black-red, they're not going to have a good way to use their mana.
So Luca does not have blue. That's a pretty key part because in a 3-color deck, when you're missing a color and have no cards of that color in your hand, you're kind of awkward because you don't really want to draw islands or blue cards all that much. Neither do anything for you. Of course, eventually you want to draw blue, but right now he would be happier just drawing kind of white and black cards for the moment. He does have Skyclave into Resto, which is kind of nice. And it looks like Fernando can at least, if he wants, get a Porcelain Legionnaire down. He could also, it looks like he's going to Dark Ritual. Is this into a Voidwalker or something? It's not going to... Oh, okay. He's going to just play Porcelain Legionnaire. Attack for 2. And play a Mountain. All right, well. Likely time for this Skyclave to come down. Porcelain Legionnaire, nice against Skyclave. It actually costs 3. Boom.
Sure.
You get that extra stat.
Yeah, Skyclave does a real nice job on this board. It gets rid of the Porcelain Legionnaire, shrinks the construct down to 1/1 size.
Okay, Luca drew a blue, so now he's got the ability to cast any blue card. So that was a really good draw. Like, for not being action, at least he opens the door for blue cards.
And it doesn't seem obvious how good this is for Luca right now, just the fact that they're kind of on parity on board because, Luca mulligan. But Luca's deck is so powerful, and if Fernando's not getting in damage early like he had the potential to do with Robber the Rich or Urza Saga Porcelain Legionnaire. It just means all of these little chip damage effects like the bombardments, the zealous conscripts that can push the last points of damage just have so much farther to go.
So one thing that could be disastrous for Fernando here is he's got a zealous conscripts with bombardment, and he might go for like conscripts on the Skyclave, and Resto Angel is just going to make that not work out well at all.
Restoration Angel Skyclave Apparition is clean.
Also, he's got Luca drew Snapcaster. So you drew Island Snapcaster, and now we're just online. I think Luca's pretty far ahead here. The Cathar Commando draw was also really good to kill the Saga. So,
I mean,
like you called it right. Like Luca has is his weekend for sure.
And Luca's doing really nice work this game. This was a solid draw by Fernando, and Luca hasn't drawn his busted cards. So
yeah.
It's not that he's getting just carried by his cards. He drafted a good deck around them. And right now this is like the 5th, 6th, and 7th man off the bench just coming in and doing nice work in crunch time.
So now Luca's deciding whether he wants to throw down a Restoration Angel and go for the block. Could be a little awkward against that Curse Scroll. There's also possible that Fernando tries to kill the Skyclave in response to the Resto. Okay, here comes Dothy Voidwalker.
That does really nice things when your opponent has cards like Mystic Confluence and Snapcaster, Ancestral. Ancestral in particular is very unpleasant to have in your hand. Not that Luca does right now, but if he were to top deck it or Spellseeker, it would be very annoying, that Dothy Voidwalker.
Yeah. So Resto Skyclave gives Fernando a 3/3, but you get to kill one of the 3 non-token permanents on the board, all of which have different arguments for. Be kind of interesting to see what happens here. It is also possible.
I think you're supposed to go for Cursed Scroll because it's so cheap, and you have Snapcaster swords for the Dothy. So your swords can't deal with Cursed Scroll or Bombardment. So I kind of want to make some inroads on getting rid of that crap.
Fernando could technically have killed the Skyclave in response with Goblin Bombardment if you wanted to. I don't know if that would have been good. You lose a 2/2 and a Dothy. Probably not good to do that, but all right, there goes the Curse Scroll. Now it's down to a 1/1. The token is, that is. But this opens the door way more for Zealous Conscript's Goblin Bombardment. Now Luca doesn't have a clean answer to that. So next turn, Fernando, maybe with Dark Ritual if he has to, could go Conscripts your Resto, and we'll see what happens next. Oh, Reanimate on the Cathar Commando, also kind of nice. Can kill that Goblin Bombardment if he wants. Or the Construct, I suppose.
Yeah, we're not far from overloading a Winds of Abandon right now, just 1 mana away. This
is an interesting turn. He's got a couple options here.
I think the Cathar Commando play is really good. You still have the ability to snap swords. I guess there is a question of, are you supposed to snap swords and just lose the Snapcaster because you don't want the Reanimate to be... You don't want to pass with Reanimate on a Dothy? Not that there's anything to Reanimate.
No, I think that's fine. The other thing you can do, Reanimate Cathar Commando, kill the Bombardment, then snap swords the Dothy, and the Dothy can't cast anything because it's summoning sick right now. So you're just going to pass the turn. Okay. Fernando has the ability to do some stuff here. Well, he drew a land, which means he doesn't have to burn the ritual, but he would have kind of liked to just draw a spell, probably.
Not reanimating here is really going to be rough. Because now you don't have the ability to blow up Goblin Bombardment.
Yeah, this is going to make Fernando's play work out much better for him. So Luca might have to swords his own Angel here. I mean, he could. What is that? No, that doesn't really accomplish that much. This Dothy is pretty annoying, though. Oh, man. Take the Angel Bombardment, and then Dothy Voidwalker, the Angel on Resta, on Zealous Conscripts. But you can't really steal anything. Oh, no, he can steal something pretty good. He can... Yeah, he's going to attack with those and then try to line up the double Bombardment, the Skyclave, or
Well, you could just sit on the Dothy. You don't need to do it right away.
Yeah. Okay. He's going to attack with these three now. Make Luca take the first move here. Yeah, not reanimating the Cathar Commando and killing the God Bombardment was pretty costly. This is some pretty good stuff from Fernando here.
Yeah, and I don't think Luca. This was tough because maybe you did want to do this because to reanimate the bombardment because it's also like really good against your winds play. I don't know how good is it.
Bombardment against winds. I mean, you don't get the lands anymore. You maybe kill a Skyclave that gives you back a 1/1.
This is a lot of damage to be taken with a combo bombardment in play.
Yeah, no, he's got to do something now. I don't think he's just going to take 9. That doesn't seem like it works that well. So if he goes Snapcaster, swords the Zealous Conscripts, I don't think that works out well. And I think Fernando gets to... Oh, so he swords he's going to swords the Dothy. So in response, you sack Angel, kill the Snapcaster. Angel gets exiled with a void counter on it. Sack Dothy. Get Angel. He can play it until end of turn. He doesn't have to play it right now, right? Or no, he's have to play it right now.
You have to play it right now, yeah. I think. But I guess you don't blink anything. You just know the blink.
No, you could blink the Skyclave and steal it, and then sack it as well. And so
I guess that's worth. You're getting a point back from the bombardment, so it's really only costing you 2 points. Yeah, that seems all right.
Yeah, and the swords gets exiled because it was snapped back.
He should have attempted to block first. That's probably right. You looking up the Dothy?
Yeah, I just want to make sure. You may play it this turn. So he didn't.
You're right.
He didn't actually have to play it that turn. So this actually that was actually a spot where I think Fernando could have.
A rare Fernando.
Yeah, rare Fernando L, as it were. And then the resto stays on his side, and he can't quite kick. No, he can kick Winds of Abandon now. All right.
Wow. So how much do you throw at the face? This is 5 lands, up to 5 damage, and any increment in between. And you do have to weigh that you might want to at least let the non-token creatures be exiled because Reed has a copy, Luca has a copy of the Scarab God in their deck.
So it looks like he's just.
Is he just
throwing all of? He's just throwing all of them. I think
he's throwing all of them.
So Goblin Bombardment in play.
The first 2 lands and no things in the yard for the Scarab God sounded pretty good to me.
All right, so 7 life and a reanimate. Worth. He drew Elspeth. That was next.
Wow.
No, 6 land into Elspeth after Island into Snapcaster after drawing Swords turn 1 onto Robber of the Rich. Oh, Glory Banger.
Luis, if Fernando had dealt an extra 3 that turn.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been game 3 right there. Now the question is, what do you do with this Glorybringer? You can just put.
I'm dealing 4 to the face.
Yeah, I think you hit Luca to 3, you pass. You could even kill one of the tokens, but I don't know that you need to do that. I think I probably would.
I think you want to force the Elspeth to minus. You don't want the Elspeth to plus this next turn.
Yep, he's just attacking. Oh, he's glory.
I don't think you should.
No, he's just hitting for 4 down to 3. Elspeth minuses. Glorybringer shoots you down to 2. Bone Crusher does the job. Curse Scroll's gone.
Marionette Apprentice, Mayhem Devil.
Yeah, all of those things. Oh, but there's a Vindicate. Vindicate for the Goblin Bombardment. You could even do that first. And then Fernando.
Be careful with that reanimate.
Yeah.
You can't reanimate Cathar Commando. You will die.
Not a good idea, yeah. Well,
I mean, so
you could if you vindicated
the decision
bombardment.
that Luca has is you could go vindicate bombardment, then minus Elspeth.
Yeah, that's the main one.
I think I would not do that. I think I would just plus Elspeth and just accept that I'm going to die to some things. It sounds like you're probably going to significantly shorten your clock.
So you would just vindicate the Glorybringer? Or what?
I think so.
He's vindicating the bombardment. The thing is, vindicating the bombardment could prompt Fernando to sacrifice anyway. It's a tricky decision because
it is tricky.
Because it opens up the door for more outs, but without the bombardment in play, the main one would be Bone Crusher, I think.
What about Thundermaw? Is out in the deck?
That's lethal whether you bombardment or not, right?
Good point.
So he's going to ping down to 2. Yeah, it opens the door for Fire Ice as well, and then he gets to plus Elspeth. He can't reanimate anything. There's no 1-drops, I don't think.
Seems super close. Wow.
Yeah, insanely close. All right. And Fernando has, 2 turns here? He gets attacked down to 8 plus, and then the next turn it's Elspeth ultimate and just kill you. Boom.
Phyrexian Tower, that doesn't do crap. Go.
All right. It's going to be the last turn. Even a Mayhem Devil doesn't quite do it, even with the Phyrexian Tower. Spellseeker for Time Walk. That's it. We're done. We are done. Oh.
At least it's so excited for Luca.
That's just an exciting top deck.
It's an exciting top deck.
I mean, it's so fitting that Spellseeker for Time Walk is what ends this thing. Boom. There we go.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Luca Jakovitz.
This.
Yeah, you sure did. He's going to get to scoop the 3 pieces of power during the draft, and the Mox Sapphire, I think, is probably the next best card.
Oh my gosh.
And then the rest of the cube minus.
And his dad got
cards.
the Black Lotus.
Oof. I would say that all of the Jakovitzes had a great weekend here.
Incredible. Is Rex going to get the 3rd piece of power? We don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out momentarily if they're doing the draft here. So we'll get to see that.
A very informal draft, I would say.
All right, so Luca, after his little interview, is going to take the Mox Sapphire there out of the remaining cards. That is great, and I think that he's got to be having the weekend of his life here. Like this is. He just scooped up half the power 9. Not to mention a whole stack of the rest of the cube. A lot of blinged out versions of cards. Bunch of dual lands. Look at this whole binder. He's got binders.
Cool. This is... I would say I wish the Magic World Championships had as cool of prizes as this event does.
Yeah, there really is something to it, you know? There really is. Like, that you just can't beat someone immediately winning a piece of cardboard from Unlimited or Beta or what have you.
Oh.
And, luckily for the Jakovitz clan, not many of the dual lands were opened. Like, that actually didn't get opened, so... I think only 2 were open. So we're going to see, definitely the 2 Moxen, the Workshop, the Bazaar. There's 7 more picks, so those 4, I guess, plus like maybe the 3 duels, or I think the duels are all more expensive than the Beta Soul Ring, but a lot of good stuff. So this is Fernando.
Yay, Fernando.
I think you just take probably Ruby. I don't know what the conditions are. That could matter, but it looks like
Ruby.
It looks like you took Ruby. Very nice. I mean, we got to watch the draft here. That's what we're here for.
Who's coming up next?
Is it the father?
No way.
The Rex dad?
No way.
Of course. Oh, you love to see it.
It's Rex.
Yeah. There we go.
All right, Rex.
Fan favorite. Rex Jakovitz here, slamming. Oh, it looks like he's taking Mitchell's Workshop over to Mox Pearl. That's justifiable depending on what was going on here.
It's really good news for Kai supporters if this whole weekend was scripted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's Matt Abrams here, so it looks like he pulled out a 2-on with his lands deck.
Very
which
cool.
is nice. Props to him.
Yeah, I'd love to see the deck list for that. That was sweet watching him draft that.
Yeah, I think Matt had one of the roughest seats in the draft. It did not look like much was coming together for him, but he did pull out a nice 2-1. That's sick. Pretty big stakes for him. It looks like Bazaar went next.
So Matt got the Pearl. Rex got the Pearl.
No, Rex took Workshop.
Rex got the Workshop, and then Matt got the Pearl.
Matt got the Pearl, and then looks like a Beta Soul Ring for...
Wow.
That's Oscar.
Kind of amazing that that's the card that got taken, considering you can get that card for very cheap because it's been in so many pre-cons, but beta ones have not.
They've gone up in value. It's not like there's some cards that are reprint proof, like Beta Sheevan Dragon, for example.
And there are some cards that are ban proof, like Sol Ring.
Also true. There goes Jesse Hampton, slacks himself, pulling out an Underground Sea. Very cool. Nice. Very nice. Everyone is taking on the first page because, you know, the organizers correctly just put the most desirable cards on the first page. We're going deep? We want something else? No, Marshall's offering a foil Mole Drifter as a jest, you see, as a bit of a joke. And
it's good to commit to the
looks like Volcanic Island was indeed the selection. Boom.
Great
Congrats. And number 8, it looks like a Tropical Island. Oh, no, that's 8. That's 8 cards. That's all of it. The rest of the binder? Luca Jakubowicz. There we go.
Pretty cool to see the prize just go out on the air.
Oh, yeah. Definitely great. I think all Magic tournaments should be like that. Scott Larrabee should come out with the stack of cash and just start dropping bans on the people who win.
Dude, when I was like 13 years old watching the World Series of Poker,
when they slam the money on the table. Come on, man. All right. That'll do it for us. That I think we'll wrap things up. Awesome event. Again, can't give enough props to Ultimate Guard, Daybreak, to Magic Online, to Martin Yuza, Chris Wolf, all the people involved. Many, many more. I couldn't name them all, of course. Reed Marshall. And, of course, everyone hanging out here. Just such a cool event. Just really the event of the year for me. Not to say that I'm not going to be, glued to World's coverage tomorrow, but this was just so unbelievably cool. So, thanks for hanging out with us. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for chilling. And you know what? We'll be back here tomorrow for another draft, but until then, just revel in the fact that we got to see Black Lotus and Time Walk and Ancestral actually all get drafted by the Jakobowiczes, in which case they dominated with a 5-1 performance, I believe, during the draft. And what a weekend. What a weekend for everyone. Also get some of these Ninja Turtle deck boxes.
I mean, for being on team Time Walk is the best pack one, pick one in the cube, seeing Time Walk win the whole thing was pretty nice.
Yeah. All right. That'll do it for us. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel and you won't miss a single draft.